also has an E. Justin, how's it going, man? Oh, we're so cooked. Oh, no. Oh, no. Milosh, how's it going, man? Oh, we're fucked. I was just watching The Last Guest so far. The Last Guest? What is that? Is that a Roblox movie, Milosh? DSV, how's it going? Trustmate speak. I know nothing about Roblox, man. I know nothing about it at all. I've never played a minute of it. Like I don't know anything about it at all. Criminal, swindle. Standard, regular, convention, routine, peak mood. Nightwalker, how's it going, man? Look at that. You're finally able to... Romero, how's it going? As I'm drawing? No worries. Were you guys playing Minecraft earlier? Criminal, shadowboxer, photographer. Yes, nice. I'm gonna join in the afternoon. I gotta finish up my... We're still playing? Oh, nice. I gotta finish up my house. I feel like it could look half decent by the time I'm done. I think it's coming along nicely. By the way, do you read the comments on streams? I always talk to my... No, I read them, Nightwalker. I read them. I don't always respond to them, but I do read them. By the way, if you want to send me your novel, I'll be happy to take a look. I will do no more than two. I will read through no more than 2 chapters, though. I can't be reading 6 chapters of everyone's novels. I'm fucked if I start doing that. It's not enough. Oh, yeah. Please send it. I'm happy to take a look. Common, routine, regular. Common, routine, regular, standard. Oh, I used convention. That's why I was off. Instead of common. I see. Swindle. Snickerdoodle, criminal, shadowboxer, buck. Okay, editor, reporter, columnist, photographer, parts of a... Yes! Newspaper jobs. Newshound, trendsetter, swindle, drawback, criminal, So it has to be one of these three. Or two of these three. Shit. Okay, it is one. Okay. Artist creation. Are you Dr. Z? If you're not, that's gonna sound like a really weird question, but I'm like 60% sure you are. I'm too good. I'm too good. Fuck, it was the other way. No. Convention, criminal, drawback, swindle. No. Okay. All right. Let's lexicon, and then we'll get started. Oh wait, yeah, I guess I already did it for today, didn't I? I did at 2 o'clock. So fuck it, we're ready. I'm on my way back today. I will probably arrive when you start your night stream. Ah, I see. The chamber is going really crazy. Well, that's good. How many villagers do we have? Villagers are multiplying. Let's go. That's what we wanted. Okay. Wait. Where was I? Was I at 559 or did I make that up? Yes, okay. I turned 2 into 6. Let's go. Nice. Any did we get any new trades or any good trades? Okay. I built an XP and gold. Whoa, nice. Okay. Looting 3. Whoa, looting 3 is really good. Ender pearls and looting 3. Nice. Okay, ender pearls are good because then we don't need to worry about the endermen anymore. We can just get it from them. For looting 3 and ender pearls, do they want emeralds? What do they want? Nice. Emeralds. Okay. I found a couple of emerald veins in my mine, so I can find some. We also eventually once we get some decent armor, we need to go some emeralds. We can trade wool and gold for emeralds. Oh, nice. Oh, okay, nice. We also eventually once we all get kitted out, we need to go down into that into the mine and find cool stuff. Okay. With that in mind, Klein immediately began making preparations. It was to explore the spirit world and select a suitable target to become a messenger. After he left the Rorstad archipelago and its surrounding sea, he could bring the Sea God Scepter along with him to reason with the target and convince them to become a messenger. Once I find myself lost or in a dangerous situation, I would immediately halt the summoning and return above the grey fog. There's basically no risk. Klein thought for a few seconds, then locked the door and began the ritual of summoning himself. At the end of the ritual, he arrived above the grey fog, but he was in no hurry to summon himself. Instead, he sat down and let the Sea God Scepter fly from the junk pile into his hands. Oh, I've already read this, haven't I? No, I haven't. Wait. He intended to scan the prayers of the believers as per routine for anything to respond to. During this process, Klein discovered that some of the prayers were actually quite interesting, because humans could deceive friends and relatives, but it was difficult to keep their truest thoughts when confessing or praying to the gods. At most, they could modify the truth and make them look less bad. Lyola, how's it going? A mixed blood who had recently changed his faith to the Lord of Storm had already reached the middle ranks of the Bayam Police Department, but in his confession, he tried hard to portray his behavior as a plan of burdening himself to carry out a mission. For the sake of a brighter future for his kinsman, he could only confess to the god in misery, hoping he would protect him, so that he could climb up the ranks as a believer of storm. Although his words sounded flawless, the fluctuations in his thoughts and emotions during confession were clearly obvious in the prayer scene. Trying to deceive God while trying to deceive yourself. If I were a gigantic sea serpent who lacked intelligence, I might have believed you. Should I give him a lightning bolt or 10 wind blades? Yes. It's pretty impressive that they have a mixed blood rise through the ranks of a senior inspector. I'll keep him. There are benefits to being a snitch. Klein raised the sea god staff, making one of the pure gems glow. The light poured into the scene and imperceptibly seeped into the senior inspector named Bulaya. That wasn't a curse, nor was it a cue. It was a mark of divinity that almost no one could discover. Simply put, a unilateral way for me to keep tabs on you. All you need to be a storm believer is racism and sexism. Milos, so you must be a cardinal by now, right? He continued browsing and saw a young believer with slightly curly bronze hair praying for a man named Zangmo to be caught in the storm and buried at sea. He claimed that Zangmo wasn't pious enough, but the truth was that as a competing fisherman, Zangmo was always able to harvest more fish than he did. What kind of nonsense prayers are these? The human heart is sure hard to fathom. For a faceless to engage in real acting, it not only requires a flawless performance in terms of external appearance and habitual actions, but it also needs to maintain the core personality. Not many changes are allowed. As for personality, every person is different, so there must be a difference to a certain degree. Oh, I know literally nothing about Alger's backstory. I can't think of a fucking thing that I know about him. By browsing through the believers, it's equivalent to me realizing different kinds of personalities and mental states without going through the trouble. When talking about the masks we wear, it's not only about looks. This will be rather important for my subsequent acting as a faceless. It will save me time from figuring out things through accumulated experiences. Klein increasingly felt that as a sea god, acting as a sea god was very beneficial to him. When you are acting in the role of a demigod, even if you don't get feedback, you'll get some considerable benefits. This way of gaining experience of being someone on a higher level, Klein perked up, no longer being perfunctory about skimming through the prayer scenes. In the Mother Earth? Insanity! How's it going, man? After quickly browsing through one scene after another, his gaze stopped at a merchant named Ralph. The business praised the miracle of the reappearance of the sea god and had indicated that he planned to offer a third of his fortune, worth £20,000 to the resistance for military expenses and for the reconstruction of God's statue. There's no need to go through all that trouble. Just offer it to me, Klein muttered half-jokingly. He thought for a moment, then conjured a background of waves and storms with heavy rain and lightning falling together, and responded in a low voice. You have honored my name by helping your compatriots and companions. The young lambs need food, education, and help. £20,000? That's so much. He intended to get Ralph to set up a charity fund with the £20,000. And to seek donations widely from the community to make up for the damages, to create a consensus and help to provide the local children with food, clothing, and education under the pretext of governance. As for the military expenditures of the resistance, Klein understood that in a world with beyonder powers, it was very difficult to rely solely on the opposition from the natives of the colonies to succeed. Therefore, they needed the help of foreign countries, like Fasak and Entis. Funding was undoubtedly needed. Unfortunately, it's not possible for me to add a line in the 10 Commandments about boldly and confidently seeking funds. That would damage the image of a sea god. Bro, who gives a shit? You're not the sea god, who really cares? Insanity really is insane? Yeah. The resistance shouldn't be thinking about annihilating the garrison troops. They should just focus on destroying the transportation infrastructure and make it more difficult for the Governor General's office to rule, so as to initiate talks. He quickly restrained his wandering thoughts and made a divination to see if it was dangerous exploring the spirit world today. After obtaining a revelation that it wasn't considered dangerous, Klein took the Black Emperor card, changed his image, and stepped into the door of summoning. After entering the real world, he stuffed the mystical items he needed into his body as a precaution, then, like last time, used cogitation to sense the spirit world. Taking a step forward, he passed through an invisible curtain as Klein's illusory figure floated up. But wait. But Klein is still... But Klein is still in the Rorstad archipelago, no? Like, he would still get overwhelmed by prayers if he touched the scepter outside of the Grey Fog, no? Lesnio, I don't believe I've seen you in lives. Thanks for popping by. Finally caught up to your streams. Oh, you've been catching up on VODs? I see. Yark, how's it going, man? How you doing? Taking a step forward, he passed through an invisible curtain as Klein's illusory figure floated up. Around him, red, yellow, blue, green, and other colors were superimposed. They were like the most abstract oil painting ever. The one concept of direction that humans were used to could no longer be used here. If one used the old meaning of distinguishing direction and one's location, they would definitely be lost. Klein roamed carefully and casually, sometimes seeing a yellow sun like a child's sketch, sometimes brushing past an incorporeal river that flowed quietly. There was a flat woman with her upper body naked and a face resembling a smiling moon, a canoe with its end upturned, a tangled ball of thread, and a serpentine staircase leading to 7 pure light. I'm cooking dumplings at 1 a.m. In this extremely chaotic world, other than the spirit world creatures, all kinds of information existed as abstract symbols. Thus, what one received from a divination process could only be a revelation that required one to interpret it as their own. As for the symbols, there was a chance that they would come to life and become incorporeal monsters. This was the spirit world that couldn't be understood and viewed with common human knowledge. The last time he came in, he had easily discovered spirit world creatures and had noticed the creepy gazes from unknown locations that made his hair stand on end. There was the headless woman who carried 4 heads, a round eye with clear blacks and whites, a giant jellyfish with a skull attached to each tentacle. He had easily encountered all of them back then. Oh, he didn't take the scepter? Oh. But this time he failed to see a single spirit world creature despite roaming for so long. Even the indescribable figures in the distance had disappeared, as if they had been hidden. It can't be that you're afraid of my messenger. It can't be that you're afraid of being my messenger, can it? Yes, I entered the spirit world in the form of a soul body. Perhaps the thoughts in my mind will appear in a special formless manner here, turning into concealment symbols that interact with the spirit world. This then naturally affects my path. Klein was puzzled, but couldn't find the reason. Spirit world creatures know what he did to the last messenger. They're like, bro, I'm not gonna die to tank a hit for this loser. Fuck that. All sorts of thoughts flashed through Klein's mind when his body suddenly sank and fell down freely. After a while, Klein could only see the vivid superposition of the colors and the various symbols that took physical form. What's going on? He began to consider whether he should write to Mr. Azek and ask him about it, or to throw the radio transceiver above the grey fog and get it tainted with the aura, so he could contact Eridas again. Have you already watched my dear friend Noka... What? No, I have not. I have not seen it yet. Insanity. They didn't want to be associated with the guy that got Bob killed. Yeah. While floating, Klein's heart suddenly palpitated as he quickly dodged to the side. A tinge of yellow and green flashed across his eyes as a giant foot that was large enough to quash the entire body landed. Or to quash his entire body landed, stepping into the interlaced red and blue color spots. Above the sole of the foot was a long, festering leg covered in yellowish-green liquid. The leg was over 3 meters tall, and above it was a huge body wrapped in corpse oil bandages. Amidst the solidified aura in the area, the two legs that were filled with green-yellow pus alternated as they rose up. Carrying a body that was difficult to discern, the legs quickly disappeared into the depths of the spirit world. Klein stood at a distance, not daring to make a sound. Finally, he confirmed that he was fine as he grimaced and thought, "The spirit world is scary. You can accidentally encounter a powerhouse just walking by." A powerhouse among spirit world creatures? Klein shook his head and continued his search. "Bro, get that guy to be your messenger. That'd be so dope." At that moment, he had no idea where in the spirit world he had wandered to. I don't even know if the word "where" holds any meaning in the spirit world. After drifting for a while, he finally found some traces of spirit world creatures. Just as he was about to switch from flying forward to descending to his left, he was surprised to find that his body continued to move forward uncontrollably. In front of him, the chaotic superimposed colors and the grayish-white mist that filled the area split open, and a large, purely black, 3-mast sailboat leaped in. The boat was nearly 100 meters long, and three pitch-black sails were hanging up like flags. "Giovanna, how's it going? Good morning." On the left and right of the ship, there were cannon muzzles and all kinds of sailors that were running around the deck. All of this was so real, so substantial, and so out of place in the spirit world. However, as the ship entered the spirit world, its black color quickly turned richer, tainting itself with an ethereal vibe. On its deck stood a mottled stone chair that was 2 or 3 meters high, its back facing the cabin. Leaning against the chair's back, a colossal figure that was compared to an ancient giant sat there. He had a black beard that just went past his neck. He wore a tall, pointed crown on his head. He wore a gorgeous black robe with silver fringes. Why is this starting to sound like the Black Emperor? The wrinkles on his face looked hardened and filled with magnificence. It made one subconsciously wish to bow their head. Under the slight wrinkled forehead and the high nose bridge, Klein's pitch black full body armor and black crown were reflected in those two dark red eyes. As for Klein, he was having trouble stopping his slow flight towards the giant. Their gazes met, among the layers of color and symbols in the spirit world, and then Klein disappeared. The giant on the mottled stone chair didn't withdraw his gaze and continued staring over a long distance. Above the fog, Klein took out the Black Emperor card that he had fused with his spirit body and instantly reverted to his original form. He should make the giant his messenger. I know! But who the fuck was that guy? Was that Blackbeard? Who is that? Lesnio, you said you finally caught up with the lives. How long have you been watching the VODs for? Above the fog, Klein took out the Black Emperor card that he had fused with his spirit body and instantly reverted to his original form. This is called a one-click gear swap, he mocked himself as he recalled what happened. He was almost certain that the giant wearing the sharp crown was the king of the 5 seas, Nast Solomon. The 100-meter-long sailboat that could sail through the spirit world was the ghost ship named the Black Emperor, which was built by the ancient Solomon Empire. Past 3 weeks? Oh, nice. You guessed that this would happen? Oh! Yes, I'm so good. Wait, is that partially what a ghost ship is? Is a ghost ship able to travel in and out of the spirit world? Is that why it's partially called a ghost ship? Because, like, to normal people, it just seems to disappear and reappear out of thin fucking air? Is this Skyrim ambient? Yes, very much it is. Good ears, man. What the fuck? How did you get that? That's crazy. I've always thought that a ghost ship simply means that it can sail on its own and wouldn't sink, making it closer to a strange creature. I never thought that the most powerful ghost ship would be able to turn itself incorporeal and wander through the spirit world. Oh, not ghost ships, just that one in particular? Okay. That makes it almost a demigod, right? As expected of the most famous Black Emperor on the Five Seas. Yes, I can't eliminate the possibility that it sacrificed a traveler during its creation process. For one of the most legendary treasures, the Spectre Empire, which carries the final inheritance of the Truonst Empire, could it be that the ship also came equipped with this capability, making it impossible to find? Klein's thoughts slowly drifted without immediately realizing the reason why he had suddenly met Nast. It was obvious. The law of Beyonder characteristics convergence. Let's go! Scoreboard, baby! Scoreboard, motherfucker! Let's go! Oh my god. Imagine having that ship. Yeah, literally. You can just go wherever you want, whenever you want. Although the black... hold on. Let me just add this to my notes. The Spectre Empire is the last inheritance of the Truonst Empire. See, like that stuff I'm never going to remember if I don't have it in my notes. By the way, since I'm seeing a couple of new people in chat, I'll mention it. If you're interested, consider joining our Discord in the description. You get heads up for when I'm going live and stuff, and then we talk about Lord of the Mysteries. I ask questions. We play Minecraft. We just everything, really. Oh my god. My notes are officially just the lower section of my notes is officially 40 pages. This is disgusting. Nagita would be proud. Yes. Aloha, Stellam. How's it going, man? Although the Black Emperor card didn't contain any Beyonder characteristics, Roselle had added or carved something onto the card when he made it. It allowed the wielder to use the card of blasphemy after they advanced to a high sequence Beyonder to subtly sense the Beyonder ingredients that they needed. Did you start reading last night, Stellam? There was no doubt that such a sensation was mutual. If one sensed the other would naturally sense them too. As for the wielder, they would appear to approach a certain fate before they crossed that step into becoming a demigod. My nose is so itchy today. What the fuck? This was something Klein was deeply aware of. He ultimately suspected that the existence of the Grey Fog had brought together certain Beyonder or supernatural events to him. Oh, that's a good point. I didn't even think of that. So whatever pathway the Grey Fog is from, it's doing something for Klein too. So then it's got to be of the Seer pathway then, right? Otherwise it wouldn't affect Klein like this. Traveling with the Black Emperor card in the spirit world makes it easier for such situations to occur. This is because the real world needs to abide by many rules. Even the fate from drawing lots needs to abide by logic, developing bit by bit. It doesn't make sense for me to use the Black Emperor card in Backland, and the King of the Five Seas, Nast, to immediately appear in front of me with a ghost ship. If he sensed the attraction force, he would have to go through the process of locating me, through the process of traveling through the spirit world. It would take hours or even days to arrive. Even if he didn't sense it, he would naturally think of sailing towards the Sonya Sea and head closer to the borders of the Lone Kingdom. In that case, it might take months before we bump into each other. In the spirit world, things are simpler. There's no concept of distance or direction. They're all very chaotic. Perhaps Nast might have wished to go on a spin in the spirit world, but ended up seeing me passing by. This doesn't need to abide by restrictions or limitations on geographical locations. In addition, he was certain that the reason why he was thrown uncontrollably towards the Black Emperor and the King of the Five Seas wasn't because of the law of convergence. The effects of the law only reflected in fate, perception, and desire, nothing too exaggerated. Otherwise, there wouldn't be high sequence beyonders. All of them would be involuntarily drawn to the uniqueness of their respective pathway. What the actual fuck is the uniqueness? I need an explanation of this soon. Klein keeps using this word and I don't know what it means. Every time I check YouTube, you're streaming. Okay. If you check in 4 hours, Mikhail, I will not be streaming, okay? Klein could sense that it was a type of beyonder power that twisted and strengthened his intent to move forward, resulting in him being unable to stop. This is a very simple analysis. Even if I had thrown out the Black Emperor card at the time, I wouldn't have been able to stop. This is a lawyer, which is a beyonder power wielded by the Black Emperor pathway. Klein decided not to use the Black Emperor card anytime soon. Let's go! This means that he was unable to roam the spirit world in search of a messenger. If he hadn't brought back the Black Emperor card and used his main body with the Sea God Scepter, he would appear in the spirit world with all kinds of... he would appear in the spirit world, which was filled with all kinds of revelations and information. He would inevitably leave behind many clues that could be divined about at any time. In terms of anti-divination and anti-prophecy, Azek's whistle couldn't be compared to the Black Emperor card. Can you guess the lawyer pathway now? It seems to be like a manipulation of rules is basically what it is. Not even rules, I guess. A manipulation of intents, a manipulation of... It's literally manipulation of what will change as you get higher and higher into the sequence. Like a lawyer, sequence 9, sequence 8 might be just rules that were stated or inherent rules of a location, whereas as you get higher and higher, you can start to manipulate like more abstract rules of nature, rules of that sort of stuff. Can you think of anything similar you have seen in the past? Well, Mr. A, obviously, but I don't know beyond that if you're referencing anything. If I really was to do that, I might meet 10 people who know that I've obtained the Sea God Scepter when buying a beer from them at the bar. Of course, it was taken by Klein Moretti. So what has that got to do with me, Gearman Sparrow? Klein shook his head in a self-deprecating manner. Think of the uniqueness as the main ingredient of a sequence 0. Each pathway has a uniqueness. Klein shook his head in a self-deprecating manner and decided to use the ritual method to get a messenger to respond. He could find something more suitable later. After he covered the Black Emperor card, his figure disappeared from the mysterious space above the grey fog. Early morning, Bayam. Alder prepared to take a carriage out of the city and take a detour to a private harbor behind a cliff. That was where his blue Avenger was docked and waiting to sail. As a disguised pirate captain, he couldn't dock so openly at the main port of the city. That would be sufficient proof that he had close ties with the authorities. It was the same with the other pirates who had to consider their berth in advance before coming to Bayam to sell their loot or gain enjoyment. They either went to a small port in the surrounding waters or to a private port controlled by someone with a deep background or by the resistance. Finally, there's no more missions. I can go out to the sea. I need to obtain the first mystical item that can allow me to increase my strength and square my accounts. After that, I'll head to the primitive island, hunt for the Blue Shadow Falcon, and allow me to advance to Sequence 6 ASAP. Alder was about to walk towards the rental carriage when he saw a familiar figure. Ralph, the former pirate merchant, walked out of the carriage with a ruddy face and looked towards the Governor General's office. He seemed very excited. What happened to him? Alder took the initiative to go over and meet him. From his point of view, Ralph was, in a sense, one of his comrades. They were all subordinates of the Fool. However, one is a core member while the other remains on the periphery, Alder calmly confirmed. What happened to deserve such joy? He asked. If I were to say that I received the blessing of God, would you believe me? I believe, Alder answered in his mind. What are you doing here? Ralph was about to answer when his eyes lit up. Didn't you say that you also believe in God? He looked around and confirmed that no one was around him before speaking. In order to befriend him, Alder had lied, saying that he had faith lay with the sea god Kalvatua. In any case, this was common among pirates, so it wouldn't arouse suspicion. At sea, the weather was usually more frightening than any enemy, so most pirates, adventurers, ship crews and sailors had a great respect for gods who controlled similar fields. Of course, Alder said. This was because he knew that the sea god that the other party was referring to was the embodiment of Mr. Fool. Ralph nodded. I received a revelation yesterday. God sent me to help his young lambs. I intend to establish a charitable fund for this purpose. This is the will of God. As his believer, I think you would be happy to provide some assistance. My villagers push forward. As he held out his right hand and waited for the donation, Alder's expression stiffened and he was momentarily unsure how to respond. Although his present fortune was worth 3,000 pounds and he was preparing to buy a mystical item, his overall financial situation was quite tight. Of course, he could still donate quite a bit if he skimmed and saved. If the sea god was still Kalvatua, Alder, who claimed to be a believer, wouldn't have hesitated to find an excuse. But now he was considering the deeper motives of the Fool. Noticing Alder's reaction, Ralph's eyes darted schemingly before he said, We want to help the children who are suffering from unnecessary discrimination because of their bloodline. They live a hard life, and it's hard to see any hope for them. They are pure-blooded, as well as mixed bloods. Alder was silent for a few seconds, then pulled out a wad of cash. Here's 100 pounds. Your kindness will definitely be rewarded. God will protect you. Wow, Alder just got scammed. Oh, that was the title. Ah, that works. Yes, that works great. The door slanted over the entrance of the warehouse. Klein prepared the summoning ritual to the spirit world creature and was surrounded by the hallucinatory effects of the herbs and essential oils. He was afraid that there would be some kind of accident if he held it in the inn, and although it might not be risky for him, it might end up harming other occupants, so he went back to the abandoned warehouse where he had given a sacrifice to Kalvatua. As for Danitz, having his bounty raised to 5,500 pounds, he was very proactive to stay inside the suite and monitor the radio. The procedure is to light the candle that symbolizes me and use a verified incantation to summon the appropriate spirit world creature as a messenger. Daily Simone's 3-line description and various incantations provided by Azek went through Klein's mind. When summoning a spirit world creature, the first sentence needed descriptions such as the wanderers about the unfounded and the roaming in the upper realm. Only by doing so could it accurately point to the spirit world. The suffix would clearly indicate that the spirit body was being summoned and that it was a creature that had a corporeal body. The second and third lines were an accurate description of the creature, but due to the restrictions of the format, one couldn't use too many words to pinpoint a creature. Therefore, it was difficult to predict or divine what would ultimately be summoned by the ritualist. In this sort of situation, using an incantation previously used by others implied a much lower risk. You found Alder's soft spot? The Fool? Then, after signing the contract, the description of the 3 sentence, the messenger that belongs to whoever, or the contract companion of whoever could be made, allowing the 3-line description to accurately summon the corresponding messenger. Yes, my messenger has to run very fast, otherwise it might end up killed by some malicious creature in the spirit world, resulting in the loss of important letters. I summon in my name, the spirit that wanders about the unfounded, the friendly creature that can be subordinate, the creature whose speed surpasses imagination. Is this motherfucker pulling up the astral world Usain Bolt? What the fuck is this? There was the sound of wind tainting the candles to a dark green and turning the surroundings cold and creepy. Klein saw a blurry figure rush out, too fast for him to see anything. After that, he couldn't find the fellow ever again. Wait, what? Did the flash just ran past him and just kept running, and Klein's like, what the fuck just happened here? Recruitment fair. Oh, so he's gonna go through like a round of fucking interviews with Gotcha pose, yeah. He pulled a mystic level item, but he is too low level to be able to use it. So he's like, "Fuck, I can't. I need to sell it for gold, I guess, or trade it because I can't use them." That was too fast. Did it already circle the planet several times? Or maybe it's or maybe it's still here. But it's too fast for my vision to keep up with. Klein's mouth twitched, deciding to wait for a few seconds to see if the creature whose speed surpassed imagination would reappear. He wasn't worried that the summoned creature would harm the innocent, as one of the creatures was a friendly creature. Thunder, how's it going, man? Besides, as long as he forcibly ended the summoning and stopped the ritual, the creature would immediately be sent back to the spirit world, no matter where the creature whose speed surpasses imagination went. A few seconds later, Klein inhaled and said, "I end this summoning in my name." The chilling air around him vanished, and the candles returned to their normal color. Klein stepped forward and extinguished the candle, intending to revise the last sentence and try again. For the two phrases, the spirit that wandered about the unfounded, the friendly creature that can be subordinate. You're going to be playing after stream? Nice, okay. I will join after like an hour or so of stream. Also currently playing, Jesus Christ. I'll play like an hour after stream. I have to go grab my niece from school. Klein stepped forward and extinguished the candles, intending to revise the last sentence and try again. The first two sentences would remain the same. I don't need to surpass imagination. Perhaps others might not meet my demands. Maybe I can change my train of thought. Maybe the messenger doesn't have to be fast. A normal speed is fine. There are other ways to ensure safety. I just need to get malicious beings to ignore it and neglect it. I'll try a spirit that's easily neglected. Why would he do that? Because then he's gonna neglect it too. When he was done his preparations, he chanted a new incantation. I summon in my name the spirit that wanders about the unfounded, the friendly creature that was subordinate, the one who is easily neglected. The interior of the warehouse became abnormally quiet. There was no wind, nor did it turn cold within the wall of spirituality. Even the colors of the candles remained unchanged. Klein waited, hoping for a good messenger. After about 10 seconds, he sighed and looked around. There's nothing. The description was of no use this time. Yeah, fuck this project. I'm gonna join now. He didn't wait any longer and followed the procedure of ending the summoning and extinguishing the candle. Bro's reading 16 to 18 chapters a day. Yes, sir. Well, I try to do two streams, 9 chapters a stream, but it doesn't always work out that way. So sometimes it ends up being like 8 and 8. If it's really bad, it gets down to like 6 and 6. But I guess actually the worst is if I do 6 chapters and I only do 1 stream that day. To his puzzlement, the candle flame even shook a few times in the end. Did I miss something? He reconsidered. Klein frowned, and then he relaxed, throwing the matters to the back of his mind. I'll switch to another train of thought. If the messenger is good at enduring scuffles and has great survivability, it's still fine. No matter what, a messenger that can deliver to the target is a good messenger. Klein then held a third ritual. I summon in my name the spirit that wanders about the unfounded, the friendly creature that can be subordinated, an extraordinary creature who has extremely high survivability. What the fuck? The flame of the candles flared and stretched, illuminating the bright red interior of the altar. In Klein's spirit world, white bones drilled out of the ground, overlapping with what looked like a safe. Finally, something I can see. Spirit body and astral projection? My guess would be that they're the same thing. Astral projection is just when you project your spirit body outside of the body, no? That's what I would guess. But someone is definitely going to correct me on that. Cuttlefish nerfed Klein's IQ because he felt like making a comedy that day. Furthermore, it's a creature with a high survivability. It looks very much like a safe. Just one look is enough to tell that it's good at taking a beating. Are you willing to be my messenger? Klein asked. The creature that looked like a safe quickly indicated its willingness. Then it wriggled the bones beneath it and crawled towards Klein. Very, very slowly. It took 10 seconds to crawl a centimeter. This is way too slow. Klein's smile froze on his face. Although messengers completed their mission by traveling in the spirit world, that didn't mean they didn't need speed. Within 0 for 3 actually did. Within the spirit world, the distance and orientation were chaotic. The most important thing was to find and lock onto a location. Oh, by the way, Lesnio, are you finished Lord of the Mysteries, I assume? As long as an accurate, immediate coordinate was provided, such as the summoning ritual just now or a simplified ritual that involved blowing a whistle, no matter where the messenger was, it would immediately appear within the altar. When the location wasn't that immediate and only had a contractual connection or a previous anchor point, the messenger needed to spend some time to distinguish the location, roam the spirit world, and search for the target. This required a certain amount of speed. If it were to deliver the letter, the recipient might die by the time they get it. The smile reappeared on his face, and he said, after some careful consideration, I think it's best I don't trouble you. Thank you for your willingness. The creature made of illusory bones stopped. Compared to before, it appeared as though it hadn't moved at all. This finished the series? Ah, okay, nice. Did you finish it relatively recently, or has it been a while? From my understanding, Lord of the Mysteries finished in 2019, or did it start in 2019? I might have one of those backwards. He was a little depressed and had to publicly abandon himself in despair. He decided to use a less troublesome method to find a messenger, which was public recruitment and interview selection. After taking a deep breath, Klein calmed his mind and said, I summon in my name the spirit that wanders thee about the unfounded. The friendly creature that can be subordinated, a unique being that is willing to be my messenger. The wind fiercely blew inside the wall of spirituality, and Klein's hat almost flew off his head. At a soul's core is the innermost soul body, or the spirit body, which is everyone's basic spirituality. Outside the soul body is the astral projection. It is the means for the spirit body to communicate with the spirit world. It's considered an external manifestation of the soul body. Oh. Finish Lord. Ah, I see. Okay. A translucent head slowly emerged, as if it had just broken through a thin membrane. Its hair was a light gold color and it was smooth. Its eyes were blood red and it had an imposing appearance. Looks a little familiar, Klein muttered to himself. The head had fully shown itself, but what followed wasn't its neck, but an illusory hand that held the end of the head's hair. Behind the palm were complicated patterns, but the color of the cuffs was dark. The summoned creature would appear at an increasingly rapid speed, and soon it was before Klein in its entirety. It was indeed a familiar person. It was the headless woman that Klein had met standing at the top of the castle. She was no longer as large as a castle like she was before. Now she was a tall, ordinary woman. Of course, there were still only cuts on her neck and four identical heads in her hands. Did you summon me? Her four drooping heads spoke one after another in ancient Fasak. She can directly communicate through words. The level of the spirit world creature isn't bad. I remember you having a castle. You're a property owner. Why are you applying for a messenger's job? Does Klein... How does... Well, I don't know either, but how does Klein think they buy property in there? What the fuck is he... What is he asking? Then he looked down at the candle behind the headless woman. He was disappointed that no other spirit had emerged. He had originally imagined that the spirit world creatures would be willing to be his messengers as they swarmed over, having to form a line to be interviewed. In the end, only one responded. It should be a problem with the summoning ritual itself. It's considered a relatively simple and basic ceremony, so it's impossible to summon multiple targets at once, Klein nodded. Klein looked at the lady and nodded. Yes. Without waiting for the other party to speak, he added another question. Can you roam the spirit world at a fast speed? How good is your survivability? Yes. Not bad. I assume those are the answers to the two questions. So she can roam pretty fast, and her survivability ain't bad. As she spoke, she floated upwards and then quickly descended, displaying her speed. Klein decided to stop making attempts which led to unknown results and asked in a serious manner, "Are you willing to sign a contract to be my messenger?" Yes. Every time 1 gold coin. Wait, and Klein has 5 of them! Oh my god, this is where they come in! So Klein has 5 gold coins! A gold coin for each letter? Isaac didn't mention that spirit world creatures have such hobbies. Right, he did mention that when signing a contract, persuasion and communication are the key factors. Does this mean that this is a form of persuasion and communication? Oh, she's speaking pretty fast. The answer is divided because she I see. Okay. Wait a minute. I might not be the one needing to pay for it. Whoever summons the messenger pays for it. Maybe when our communication improves, there would be an option of paying on receipt. Klein agreed to the other party's request. Okay, let's sign the contract. He picked up a dark red fountain pen and yellowish brown goatskin parchment that he had prepared, and wrote down the contract in a language which could stir the forces of nature. Ancient Hermes. The format and terms were described in Isaac's letter in detail. They were concise and to the point, and they had contained clauses such as the messenger not being allowed to look at the letter, not discarding the letter, or endangering the life of the contractor. Of course, if the contents of the letter were related to the messenger had to be informed in advance. In addition to these, Klein added a clause to send 1 gold coin for each letter, specifying that it could be borne by the contractor or the receiver of the letter. In order to ensure the effectiveness of the contract, the final part of the honorific name of the deity in charge of this domain was used. It was an undead contract, and normally it meant the dead's honorific name, but Death had perished long ago. And with no response from him, hence, Isaac mentioned that it could be replaced by using the description of someone high in the undead domain, or the underground itself. Without a doubt, Klein chose the underworld, which had a close relationship with the big shot. The real estate business needs money. The home of all the dead, the hell hidden deep within the spirit world, the witness of the decay of all living beings, one that solely belongs to the kingdom of death. After penning these 4 sentences, the goatskin parchment began to burn with a green flame, illuminating the gloomy surroundings. Once he was done, Klein took out Isaac's whistle and placed it on the goatskin and wrote his current name, Gearman Sparrow. This didn't necessarily require a real name because his aura would enter the contract. The name was only used for the summoning, which was to say using the contract or using the messenger that belongs to Gearman worked, but the contracted creature of Klein Moretti wouldn't. I see. You can take notes of the honorific name of the underworld. Oh, true. When Klein finished signing, the goatskin floated up, carrying Isaac's whistle and the dark red fountain pen, and flew to the headless lady. The lady held the head. The headless lady held the head with her golden hair and red eyes, let it bite down on the fountain pen, and wrote her name, Raynette Tyneker. Am I wrong? Is that wrong? I think Thunder is getting scared of us in VC. How many of you are in the voice chat right now? What the fuck? Oh, geez, there's 5 of you. The green flames quickly gathered together, wrapping around Isaac's copper whistle and the yellowish-brown goatskin parchment. A few seconds later, the goatskin was reduced to ash, and the copper whistle fell into Klein's palm. The headless woman, Raynette, collectively blinked with the eyes of her 4 heads, and her body rapidly faded into the pale candle flame. After the contract was made, Klein no longer needed to undo the summoning. He could do it with just his own will. I finally have a messenger. Well, when there's an opportunity, I'll get an artisan to create something like a copper whistle, so that I don't have to summon my messenger every time with a ritual. Klein cleared up the mess and was in a rather good mood. Over the next few days, Bayam gradually returned to normal, but Danitz hadn't been able to receive any telegrams from the Admiral of Blood's pirate crew. On Sunday morning, he flipped through the newspaper and said, "There's a Beyonder gathering tonight. Wanna attend? Fuck yeah, we have monies now, let's go!" Miss Messin. Okay, Bullseye, okay. How's it going, Bullseye? I don't think I saw you. I think this is your first message today. Zaref, what's up? How's it going, man? What's up? Who the hell is Helen? I made my friend watch all 6 trailers of Lord of the Mysteries. Okay. I picked a great first message. Yes, you did. Beyonder gathering. Klein thought for a bit and nodded. Okay, I should bring forward to the collection of the supplementary ingredients of the Marionettis potion, and see if I might meet an artisan. Upon seeing Gehrman agree, Danitz breathed a sigh of relief, unable to contain his joy. For the past few days, having his bounty raised significantly, he had obediently stayed in the suite to monitor the radio. He was so bored that he yearned for the evening to arrive immediately. The Beyonder gathering that Danitz mentioned was at Amorous Leaf Bar, where pirates, informants, and adventurers were active. It was a first choice if one wanted to gather information and buy supplies. Dressed in a black coat and silk top hat, Klein followed Danitz through the crowded bar lobby and into a card room. Under the watchful gaze of several Beyonders, he gave the predetermined signal and descended down a flight of stairs to a wide underground area. It's like the Evil Dragon Bar in Tingen. There's an underground market for herbs and all sorts of common mysticism materials. However, the difference is that there's all sorts of guns and ammo for sale too. Klein even discovered antiquated muskets and lead bullets. They'll even sell fake identity documents and fake seals. As expected of an overseas colony, the industry is much more developed than Tingen. I'll buy a batch of ingredients later to make charms in the Sea God domain. There will always be some discounts if I purchase them in large quantities. Next to him, Danitz, who was already doubtful of his own disguise skills, had deliberately put on a cap, keeping the front of his cap down to cover half his face. With great familiarity, he led Klein to the other end of the underground market and knocked on a closed door with 2 long knocks and 4 short ones. My friends hate Lord of the Mysteries because I was talking about it. Behind the door, there's only a single candle. It swayed on the lampstand on the side wall, scattering yellow light into a tiny room. Danitz pointed to the long robe, mask, and other items which were hanging or placed on a table and said, "It's up to you to decide whether you want to don a disguise. You can choose to or not." Klein looked around, his gaze sweeping past the bouncers. "I don't need to. I am now an informant of the kingdom's military and the Church of Storm knows my identity, so there's nothing for me to be afraid of. If the pirates and adventurers have a malicious thought about me because I lack a disguise, and they attempt to attack me," Klein pictured the bounty rewards flying towards him one by one. He's so cocky. He's like, bro, they could all jump me, and I'd win. No problem. Danitz curled his lips secretly, picked up a black iron mask and wore it. Then he and Klein passed through the dim corridor into another room under a bouncer's lead. The place was lavishly decorated, and the floor was covered with a thick carpet from the southern continent. The walls were decorated with shining lampstands and the fresh smell of candles that could be caught as they suffused with the light. If I was losing, I would call Aza. Klein glanced around and without Danitz's help found a brown leather sofa and sat on it. He leaned back and crossed his legs. There were already more than 20 people of various genders gathered. Some wore in hooded robes while others showed their faces. According to Danitz's description, not all the people attending were Beyonders. There were some spokesmen for some factions, as well as adventurers, pirates, and mysticism enthusiasts. Time slowly passed, and 7 or 8 minutes later an old man sitting on a reclining chair straightened his back and chuckled. "Everyone, let's begin." The organizer of today's gathering, Strongman Ozil, a famous pirate in the past, and now the secret boss of the Amorous Leaf Bar. Danitz leaned slightly and introduced the man to Klein. He actually mentioned it in the morning, but he was afraid that Gehrman failed to match a name to the face and would vent his anger on him later. We also have Klein's signature move, calling the cops. True. It's a sorrowful matter to have a secret grasped by others, Danitz sighed. I'll be in the background, but I'll try to be back in a while. Sounds good, username. Klein nodded indiscernibly as he watched for the transactions to happen. There were potion formulas for warrior, sailor, mystery prior, and others, but no one bought them. The expectant seller was disappointed over and over. Danitz glanced at Gehrman, who wore an expressionless face, and then leaned over and explained, "There is no notary at this gathering, nor any powerful seer. The authenticity of the potion formula can't be guaranteed, and it's too easy to fake such things. Even if people recognize the formula's fake, the seller cannot be punished because he might be a victim too." I know. This is one of the reasons why potion formulas fail to be widely spread. Klein uncrossed his legs, leaned forward, and said in a voice that was neither loud nor low, "I need the remnant spirituality of an ancient wraith." He didn't mention the eyes of a 6-hour gargoyle, the spring water from Sonia Island's Golden Spring, or any other supplementary ingredients. He was worried that others would guess he was a faceless preparing to advance to marionettist. When he was in Tingen, Klein relied on the purchase of supplementary ingredients to accurately suspect that Daxter Guterin was a prospective spectator. It was impossible to deduce any more from remnant spirituality of an ancient wraith alone, as many rituals in the undead domain would use it. And although Klein didn't disguise himself, he still had to be careful. The room was silent for 2 seconds, then a slight hoarse voice sounded. "How much do you need? Someone has it?" Klein controlled the expression on his face and didn't let the joy show. He tilted his head to look at the speaker and saw the man in his 30s was clearly of native blood. A small bottle, Klein pulled out a small bottle, small metal bottle as an example. The man was silent before saying 500 pounds. That's reasonable. Klein originally wanted to haggle, but he caught a glimpse of Danitz sitting beside him. "I'm Gehrman. Cold, crazy adventurer." Okay. He took a large stack of cash he had prepared and counted out 500 pounds. The man with the mostly white eyes took a glass test tube from his pocket and threw it at Klein. "All the spirituality will be gone after a year. Bro, I'll be a demigod in a year, don't you worry about it, kiddo." He wasn't afraid that the other party would be unable to catch it, because even if it was to break, it wouldn't affect the material itself. It would only be a matter of changing containers. Klein raised his right hand and caught the glass test tube. He saw many phosphorescent spots floating in the tube, and when they touched the glass wall, they would strangely expand, forming a face with blurred features that opened to form a mouth that screamed silently. Oh god. Oh my god, it's only been an hour? "It's real," Klein nodded to himself and handed the cash to the attendant, who approached and then handed it to the seller. At the end of the day, the trading continued, and most of it failing, with only a small number succeeding. At the end of the day, the gathering's organizer, Strongman Ozil, laughed and said, "I have a request." And he pulled out a photo from inside his pocket. "The reward for finding the person above is 1,000 pounds, or some common, beyond her ingredients of equal value. Do not hurt her." 1,000 pounds? This would make most adventurers insane. I wonder who he's looking for. Klein took a look. Not surprisingly, Klein saw that everyone present was willing to give it a try. The picture began to be passed in a counterclockwise fashion, and a few minutes later, it was in Klein's hand. The woman in the photo was rather pretty, with bright red hair and a pair of green eyes that resembled emeralds. Her skin wasn't fair, and she gave off a healthy look. At the time of the photo shoot, she was wearing a lake-colored skirt. Her waist was tightened with a flower-shaped ribbon, making her appear exceptionally slender, and her face seemed to be smiling. But her overall appearance was one of displeasure and awkwardness. A girl with a good family background, who would pay 1,000 pounds to find her, and on the premise that she can't be hurt. Many romance stories with intertwined love and hate flashed through Klein's mind. Stories with a tyrannical pirate falling in love with a wealthy merchant's daughter, abducting her onto his boat before she eventually escaped. Or some noble lady from a declining family turning into a pirate, and was later caught due to a mistake, only to have a sinful relationship with a mid or high-ranking mandated punisher or military officer. thus escaping from her predicament and imprisonment, and how a newly advanced demoness had accidentally fell into debt of love when giving someone pleasure. Such thoughts flashed through Klein's mind. All beautiful are demonesses, true. I've read too many novels, and I happen to have trauma because of the demonesses in this world. Klein sighed to himself and looked up at Ozil and asked, "What's her name?" "Helen. But she may have switched to using an alias." "Is there anything she often wears?" "Hair is fine too." "Nothing." Klein was looking to see if he could use a divination. "She has a strong anti-tracking ability." "What's her strength like?" another member of the gathering asked. The employer didn't give a detailed description, but it said that she isn't too strong, but she's stronger than a sequence 9. You don't need to capture her. As long as you determine her whereabouts, you'll be paid. 563. Man, we're flying through today. I think an hour in, and I'm already a full 18 minutes ahead. That's crazy. As long as you can confirm her location, he'll get £1,000. This is the first time I've heard of such a mission. Danitz rubbed his hands together with a hint of excitement outside the bar, clamoring to get to wander around the city and find the red-haired woman. To him, £1,000 wasn't a small sum. It was enough to add another house to his line of properties in Bayam. It wouldn't just be located in the most prosperous and valuable district. The elf flying carpet he had previously obtained was only around £2,000 or £3,000. Only. This was the reward he had gained from fighting dangerous fellows such as Steel Mavetti and Blood-Brain Brambles. It was completely incomparable to the easy mission of finding someone. Klein, who was walking ahead, held a package wrapped in a newspaper. They were the charm materials which had cost him £15. He slowed his pace, glanced at Klein and spoke without expression. £5,500. Oh my god, he's so mean. He's like, bro, you keep getting too uppity. You know, you'll remind me to fucking give you back too, right? Nah. Reader man? Wow, okay. Danitz's excitement froze. Only then did he remember an important problem. In the eyes of other pirates and adventurers, he was as attractive as Helen. They didn't need to fight him. Once they recognized him, they could report his identity to the church, and they would receive a reward more than £1,000. He was already a great pirate worth £5,500. Searching for Helen would be the equivalent to a lady with a nice figure and good looks entering the Red Theater for entertainment. Dog shit. Danitz spat out a single word, his face grim, as he stretched out the middle consonant. Dog shit is 2 words, but whatever. At the same time, he automatically pulled down his cap even lower. Klein, who had poured cold water on Danitz, resumed his normal walking pace and considered the question of finding Helen. The lack of a medium and the necessary information made it difficult to use divination, so he needed other methods. Bro is already getting legendary status at sequence 7. I know. Imagine how high the bounty's gonna be once he's like a sequence 6 or 5. Whew. Or he'll lose control and die before then. I don't know. I am now Sea God Kalvatua. Wait, activate my underlings and do an investigation of the entire city? That can only be done by the church, military, and policemen. Even local gangs would find it hard. Wait. I am now Sea God Kalvatua. My believers are all across Bayam and Blue Mountain Island. I just need to make an announcement. No. A revelation to my believers, and I can get them to search for the red-haired Helen. But would this damage my standings? If I were a real sea god, I wouldn't care about this. However, I'm now acting as Kalvatua. I have to maintain the dignity of a god as best I can. Back when Kalvatua was on the verge of collapse, it didn't even broadcast a revelation when it was urgently trying to find Letitia and her subordinates. Instead, it only gave orders to the worshippers in the upper echelon. I can change its commandments as part of reconstructing an image, but I can't appear too low class. That would be a requirement of acting. I remember seeing Beryl good for both red-haired girl and the dead woman from last stream. Do we have them to show us? I don't know. It would be difficult to organize an investigation just by giving Kalat, Edmonton, and the others a revelation. Furthermore, they would definitely need to magnify the severity of the issue. They would definitely magnify the severity of the issue and cause a huge commotion, making it difficult to deal with things later. There's another solution. I can throw the radio transceiver above the grey fog and contact Eridas. I'll ask him about the red-haired girl's location. But I have to be careful. I need to prepare ahead of time and confirm with divination. I don't want to receive strange telegrams from the true creator or the primordial demoness. Having quickly come up with an idea, Klein boarded the rental carriage and parked at the corner of the street. Danitz pressed his hat and closely followed. Returning to the inn, Klein took off his hat and said to Danitz, "If your captain contacts you, ask for information about the red-haired Helen." "She doesn't know. Otherwise I would know," Danitz grinned. "I don't know who's looking for her to be willing to pay £1,000. His thoughts were whirling, imagining a love story akin to the ones Emperor Roselle had penned. Oh, didn't Roselle copy Romeo and Juliet in this world or something? Klein glanced at him and said, "I'll do the monitoring tonight." You're doing it?" "Yes." "Does Gehrman know I'm exhausted?" Although he's crazy, he's still a good person at heart. He had actually decided to risk his life to save people in the Banksy Harbor. Carrying the radio transceiver and its relevant parts, Klein went to the bedroom, locked the door, and threw them above the grey fog. After doing this, he was in no hurry to leave the towering palace. He waved his hand, and the sea god scepter flew into his hand. He scanned through the prayers and gathered experience on how people had multiple facades. Yes, he did. Tala mentioned that. Yeah, I thought so. Okay. You're making that up, right, Bullseye? In the process, he would occasionally respond like a child who still had great interest in a new toy. As Klein's browsing drew to a close, ripples of light began to form around the seat of the Fool. Someone is praying to me. The Fool, not the sea god. Enmat Harbor, dressed in... What the fuck? Enmat Harbor, in a room with closed curtains, dressed in a classic black robe, Ed Sheeran resisted the pulse in his heart and said to the sweet young girl, Denise, "What do you mean? Why is Ed Sheeran here? What is happening? I'm so..." The gift of God is in our bodies, but if we want to obtain it, we must have a teacher guide it out. Your soul is pure and beloved by the gods. I will personally guide you. In the process, no matter what happens, you must trust me and listen to me. Before you do that, do you have any questions? Ed Sheeran was a swindler. This is great. I love this. Yeah. Cuttlefish, my goat, dude. Oh. His specialty was to establish a cult to cheat others for money and sex, and then he would decisively flee before it reached a scale that would garner attention from police. This time he had come to Backland, disguised as one of the Fools Blessed that had many gangsters in the capital. Were looking for. He had also developed a batch of believers in his target group. He falsely claimed that the fool was an incarnation of the Lord of Storm and that he would come to save the faithful during the apocalypse. This was a secret that could not be widely publicized and could only be spread in secret. Otherwise, it would attract the attention of the other gods or churches. Only those who were chosen in advance only those who were chosen to be would be able to believe in the fool in advance and be the first batch of the redeemed. To make himself appear more persuasive, he spent a lot of money in Backland, buying a piece of paper with the honorific name of the fool written on it. As for what was on the paper, his comment was, "It looks like it's real." Denise asked with both fear and anticipation, "Lord Adorer, why don't we get a response when we read the honorific name of God? Aren't we the blessed who have been selected and should bathe in God's grace?" "I'll give you God's grace." Ed Sheeran took a deep breath and suppressed the tantalizing images in his mind. His wife likes Ed Sheeran, and so he decided to make him a con artist? Jesus Christ, what the fuck? 2 reasons. First, you haven't discovered the grace of God, which is hidden in your body. I will help you complete that later. Dude, what is that? What is this? What am I reading? Second, you are not devout enough. Don't argue. I can see right through you. After you do all of this, you'll be able to receive the honorific name of God and receive a response like me. Under Denise's idolizing and curious gaze, Ed Sheeran picked up a pen on the table and beside her scribbled a line of words. It was the Hermes language used for the sacrificial offering. He recited the words he had written. "The fool that doesn't belong to this era." His thing. He read all that and dreamily said, "I feel the blessings of God." At this moment, a streak of silver lightning descended from the sky and landed on Ed Sheeran's head. Ed Sheeran got divine retribution. With a sizzling sound, the tiny electric bolts snaking across the body scurried. With God's blessing, he fell to the ground, and his body quickly charred while his muscles twitched violently. After a few seconds, he stopped all movement, including breathing, as Denise exclaimed, "Lord Ed Sheeran is indeed God's blessed." Denise finally sensed something wasn't right, stepped forward, and lifted her skirt and knelt down. "He's dead! He's dead!" Denise jerked back in terror. She burst into tears and stumbled out of the room, looking for the police station. Atop the grey fog, Klein silently retracted the golden god scepter. "You dare to use my name to cheat others?" The corners of his mouth twitched, wishing that he could give another bolt of lightning to Ed Sheeran. But that was corpse mutilation. The girl would probably call them police, right? This kind of case would inevitably be referred to a Beyonder team. I wonder if it'd be the Nighthawks, Punishers, or the Hive Mind. After what Mr. A has done, the reputation of the fool isn't small in Backland. Perhaps I already have a dossier in official organizations. Maybe they'll put everything together and hand it to the Red Gloves or something. However, he quickly put this matter to the back of his mind, because no matter what, they wouldn't be able to detect it was him. Klein threw the God scepter into the junk pile and returned to the real world. And was ready to return to the real world. Suddenly, one of the dark red stars that was quietly floating in the boundless grey fog lit up, emitting a light that was as bright as water. It was a crimson star that didn't belong to any member of the Tarot Club. Are we about to get a new member? Because historically, whenever a crimson star has glistened in time, they have become a member. What a busy day today. Who could it be? Someone is relying on a certain object to connect to the grey fog. Klein's spirituality spread out as he thought. He didn't respond, only observed. 564. Look at that. We're so far ahead in time. What the fuck? If my wife likes you, you're dead. No, no. Not only you're dead, but I'm gonna ruin your reputation and then have you die in the most shitty, boring, loser way possible. As Klein's spirituality made contact with the Crimson Star, the Crimson Star contracted and presented the images and sounds contained within. A black-haired woman in a classical robe fell to the ground, writhing in pain. Kind of like Miss Justice? Or no, not Miss Justice. Kind of like Miss Magician? She held an ordinary-looking celestial globe in one hand, and in the other she held a short scepter that wasn't even the length of a small arm. Her strong will to survive almost broke through the binding of the Crimson Star and directly entered Klein's ears. Just like Justice in the Sun, this woman's figure appeared rather blurry, making it impossible to discern her exact appearance. But there were things that Klein could clearly see, such as her facial features, such as her splitting cheek muscle and the flesh inside that was contracting into eyeballs. Other features included her ears stretching outwards like trumpets, or her fingers that were scratching at the floor to create bright streaks of blood. She's starting to lose control. As well as a pair of cold, lashless eyes that were almost transparent and were situated above her. Lashless eyes. We've read this before. Eye, so pupilless eye is the fool. Lashless eye, lashless eye. Who's this? Wait, the god that got old Neil killed. Felt eyes everywhere. The great sage? Hidden great sage? The black-haired girl's mutation didn't decline. Her body was tenaciously healing itself, causing the flesh and blood, which resembled an eyeball, to melt. Hidden sage. Fuck, that was close. Her ruptured muscles fused together and her extended ears shrunk inwards. Every detail was in a repetitive seesaw-like struggle between the two sides. Musician Crusader of the Hive. That is a name. How's it going, man? How you doing? Klein was dazzled by the illusory, lashless eyes, as if he had returned to Tingen, back to the time when he first mastered the spirit vision. Back then, he saw a pair of eyes like that on old Neil's back. Hidden sage. Klein leaned back in his chair, stretched out his hand, and took a hold of the god scepter once again. How's it going? He planned on lending a hand and smite those evil bastards with a few bolts of lightning. Would it be someday, somehow? Ah, that's awesome, man. Good for you. However, after careful consideration, he sharply realized that the black woman's abnormality had stemmed from her crazy ravings that no one else could hear. This was the source of everything in her. This was because of the source of everything was in her ears, deep within her spirit body, her soul body. Her situation is similar to that of Miss Magician. As long as the source of power was gone, the mutation would be quickly dealt with and by the lady's self-recovery powers. As for whether she was worth saving, or if she harbored malicious intent, the current him was no longer as troubled as he was in the past. If the lady had committed a heinous sin to a certain degree and had already established a connection with the mysterious space above the grey fog, Klein could give her a few lightning bolts at any time and let her be thrown back to where she belonged. Jesus. If she really has any if she has really any kind of malicious intent, or if she causes any accidents, I, who possess the Sea God Scepter, the Black Emperor card, am capable of using the Grey Fog's power to some degree, wouldn't lack the ability to resist. Klein held onto the scepter in one hand and pointed to the remote star. His spirit energy surged and poured into the crimson red light that was flowing like water. Sorry, I was just doing something. This time he was able to establish the mysterious and stable connection with ease. The black-haired lady's figure instantly appeared at the side of the long bronze table, sitting on a chair that didn't belong to any current members. As for Klein, he could see the final image of the crimson star that the mutation on her body had weakened significantly. He nodded indiscernibly, waiting for the other party to speak. The black-haired lady was somewhat still adrift. One second she was struggling in extreme pain, and the second she was inside a towering, domed palace. Beneath her was an endless and silent grey fog that extended outwards endlessly. How could she not be taken aback? After a brief moment of silence, she turned her gaze to the figure sitting at the end of the table and asked, "Is this the underworld?" "You aren't dead." At this moment, he saw the symbol tainted with the starlight quickly change on the back of the black-haired lady's high-backed chair, forming a pair of eyes that contained countless resplendent stars. They were cold and indifferent, and they lacked eyelashes. Based on his past experience, he believed this was a symbol representing the mystery prior pathway. The black-haired lady froze, gradually regaining her senses. Instinctively, she scanned her surroundings before casting her gaze to the man shrouded in the grey fog. Wait, the lady that we saw when Klein was stealing the Black Emperor card, who was wearing the leather boots, she had like brown hair, right? I think you guys said a while back chestnut hair. Is that right? It's not this lady because she has black hair. Because it says that she has bright leather boots, so chestnut hair. Okay. White shirt, tailcoat, no pants. No pants. What the fuck? White shirt, tailcoat, no tie, black pants, bright leather boots, seemingly black hair, and a blurry appearance. There's nothing strange about this. He casually holds a milky white scepter that's slightly longer than an arm in his hand. And that scepter. The black-haired lady's pupils contracted as the depths of her eyes reflected. Okay, sorry. In its entirety, the blue gemstone and the aura of a storm from the surroundings that it stirred. Okay, I read it wrong. I'm sorry. It said no tie and then black pants right after each other. Okay, I'm sorry. It's a scepter at the level of a demigod. He's playing with it like a toy. He doesn't care about it at all. The lady in the black narrowed her eyes and asked, "How may I address you?" "You may call me the Fool." The Fool? I've heard of your honorific name from the Aurora Order's Mr. Z. Do you not plan on introducing yourself? This is the most basic of etiquette. My name is Cat Leia, and I have the nickname Admiral of Stars. Mr. Fool, you were the one who saved me? Admiral of Stars? Oh my god, are we gonna get a fucking high-level pirate as one of the Terror Club members? Fuck yeah! That's awesome! The Admiral of Stars, one of the 7 pirate admirals, someone with a bounty of 37,000 pounds? I have saved a treasure trove. No, a person of high status. He chuckled and replied, "Wasn't that obvious?" The Admiral of Stars is such a peak name. Holy shit! I'm gonna be really annoying for everyone who's been here for a little bit. Since I keep seeing a couple new people, if you guys are interested, consider joining the Discord. Link in the description for when I go live. Heads up and to hear my dumb questions. And if you're interested in joining our our Minecraft server, apparently that's apparently a thing we're doing. I don't wait. How many? Oh man, no shit. Man, Bullseye always keeps me on my toes. This motherfucker is crazy. He don't give a fuck at all. No mono this week? Alright, fun. Oh, wait, that reminds me. I won't do it right now because I probably won't have time, but we need to check out last week's manhwa chapter too. I didn't do that. Or 2 weeks ago. I don't know. Admiral of Stars stood up and said, "Thank you for your assistance. If you have anything you need me to do, you can directly instruct me, as long as it's within my capabilities and doesn't violate my principles." That's nice of you. Very seasoned and experienced. She is indeed worthy of being the Admiral of Stars. Klein couldn't help but sigh. Among his Tarot Club members, with the exception of the Hanged Man and the World, all of them were rather inexperienced when they first participated. Miss Justice was one who vaguely understood the mysterious world, but hadn't stepped into it. The Sun was one who had received sufficient education, but due to the isolated environment and his relatively young age, he was very simple and honest. The Magician may have been stuck at Sequence 9 for several years, but she had always been an unaffiliated Beyonder. She didn't know much about all sorts of hidden factions and lacked experience. The Moon, Emlyn, comes from a Beyonder race with a faction of deep heritage backing him, but due to his preference of staying home to play with dolls. He's so mean! He couldn't just say, like, due to his preference of being uninvolved with Beyonders. No. Of staying home and playing with dolls, you fucking loser. You're... He's so mean! He's greatly lacking in experience in certain aspects. He was very gullible as a result. That fellow, Emlyn, is smart, but if he were to meet Triss, no, Demoness Trissy, he would be tricked by her into selling his dolls. Klein secretly teased the vampire, which could be considered a friend in the real world. He looked at the Admiral of Star, and didn't directly respond to the matter of repaying her for saving her life, and instead asked, "Are you a member of the Moses Ascetic Order?" Yes. Cattleya didn't believe this was something she could hide from the fool. Klein smiled. What did you do to provoke that guy? He wasn't sure that the pair of eyes belonged to the hidden sage, so he used a vague term, that guy, instead. So no matter what, the fool was absolutely correct and upheld his standing. After a moment of silence, Cattleya said, "No, I didn't provoke him. The members of the Moses Ascetic Order believe that all objects are numeric, and we pursue knowledge itself." Interesting. Okay, I'll add that to my notes. No, there's more, so I'll add it all together. Jo is one of those people that would probably be unpleasant to deal with online, but still a good person at heart. In fairness, FQ, I think almost everyone is an unpleasant person to interact with online. There's something inherent about like having a level of anonymity online where like you're behind a screen, you're not showing your face, whatever, where I think it inherently makes you like a worse person because you can say whatever you want, but you're not held accountable for it. So I feel like literally everyone is like a dog shit person to deal with online. However, Emperor Roselle once said that we aren't pursuing knowledge, but that knowledge is pursuing us. The hidden sage is the embodiment of knowledge itself. He is chasing us. Every Moses Ascetic member order, when too much knowledge is injected into us, without us being able to quickly digest and master it, in a situation like before would happen, either I lower my defenses and open my mind to accept the modification from the hidden sage, or I tenaciously resist or end up losing control. Be toxic online, be sure their internet represents the chaos of the spirit world. Okay. If that's the case, you weren't specifically targeted by the hidden sage. Even if you managed to escape from the previous predicament, you wouldn't be suspected of anything. According to what you said, you're very knowledgeable. Back then, old Neil only wanted to obtain the knowledge of human body refining and a perfect revival. Klein sighed, but he didn't show it on his face. Wait, so if Cat Leia's gonna join, like it's all but confirmed. I mean, in my mind, anytime a star like kind of does that, they're joining the Tarot Club. That's always been historically the case. So if Cat Leia joins, then we've got a member in the Psychology Alchemist. We've got someone in the City of Silver. We've got someone in the Abraham family. We've got someone in the Church of Storm. We've got... Am I missing someone? No, I think that's everyone. And then we've got someone in the Moses Ascetic Order. Oh, someone, yeah, someone who's a vampire. Yes. I try to be as polite as possible. I repress all my isms and phobias. Yeah, okay. Bro forgot the vampire? No, wait, did I not say vampire? Oh, okay, sure. So we got someone in the vampire too. And then, this is cool. The reputation of Admiral of Stars isn't too bad. She's the kind of pirate with a code of honor. Klein stopped his thoughts and calmly said, if something similar happens, you can recite my name. Recite your name? Cat Leia's lips quivered. Instinctively, she wanted to refuse. But she didn't say anything for a long time. After repeatedly weighing the pros and cons, she stood up and crossed her arms in front of her chest and slightly bowed. How may I be of service? Klein laughed and said, in the future, provide some assistance to my blessed. By your will. Is the honorific name provided by Mr. Z yours? Then she repeated the honorific name of the fool to him. Klein nodded, indicating she was right. Cat Leia looked at the other empty seats and asked, Mr. Fool, will there be others here as well? Klein laughed. People like yourself. They set up a regular gathering, and I bear witness. Can I join? Cat Leia asked. Let's go! New Tarot Club member! Oh my god, I'm really glad I made it to this point before Izzy and I speak again. Because otherwise it would have been so hard for him to have this conversation without wanting to mention that there's a new Tarot Club member. Oh, this is so good. She thought that since she was connected to the mysterious existence known as the Fool, it was better to know more than to know nothing. It was better to know more than to do nothing. Of course, you have money, knowledge, influence, and needs. Klein casually leaned against the back of his chair. Sure. Without my permission, you are not to leak this matter. All right, Cat Leia answered. Klein tapped his left index finger and revealed the rest of the tarot cards on the bronze table. They used tarot cards as their code names. These are the remaining ones. Pick one. Cat Leia scanned the cards and immediately answered, The Hermit. He has a... No, Nightwalker, I mean, we plan on speaking again, hopefully this weekend. We gotta figure out if we're both free and timings and stuff. But I think we plan on speaking again this weekend. So it's good that I made it here for the next talk. Mystery, such a mystery prior thing to say. I know, Hermit. What a fucking... Ugh. I mean, whatever. I like Cat Leia. So... The Admiral of Stars? That is such a cool nickname. What the fuck? So I'm not going to judge her too harshly, but Hermit? Come on, do better. There's so many better ones left. Hold on. Major tarot cards. Like... okay, just really quickly. Fool is taken, Magician's taken. The High Priestess, that would be cool, but I get why you wouldn't want to take that. The Empress, that'd be cool as fuck. The Emperor, The Hierophant, the Lovers, I get why you don't want to take that. The Hermit, ugh. Wheel of Fortune, Death, I guess that has to be someone of the death pathway, so it can't be that, no problem. Temperance, the World is taken. Judgment, I guess this is Miss Justice in this. No, Justice is here. Oh, there's Judgment too. The sun is taken, the moon is taken, the scar, I believe, is gonna be taken. The representation of their pathways, though. It makes sense considering how the cards connect to each other. I mean, I think, like, strength is... Oh, I guess strength would have to be someone of the hunter pathway or something, right? She's called... Exactly, she's called the Admiral of Star and doesn't pick the star. Yeah, Milos, this is not looking good for you, buddy. The fact that she's the Admiral of Stars and didn't pick star, you might be losing that mod position soon, buddy boy. Okay. Now we agreed on rotation. Okay. Inside the captain's cabin, Cattleya slowly got up from the floor and walked in silence to the full-length mirror next to the bookcase. In the mirror, the skin on her face was fair and smooth, without a single crack. Her ears were small and normal, showing no signs of expanding. Her deep purple eyes were calm, as if nothing had happened. Moving fence post to avoid losing his modhood entirely. Exactly. Wait, I guess I should read to 567, right? To read 9? Because I think 566 would only be 8. Fuck. Okay, I will try. However, she could see more with her eyes that carried a sense of mystery. Beneath her skin were eye-like flesh and blood that hadn't been fully dissolved. Her soul body, whose pain and madness were rapidly dispersing, in numerous illusory objects with ineffable forms that roamed about, sailors who were cleaning the deck several rooms away. Everything within a range of a dozen meters was revealed to her in an unobscured but unusually chaotic manner. From the day she had become a Sequence 5 Constellations Master. Whoa, there we go. Got a new sequence name. I don't think I know that many of the mystery prior. Oh no, I know all the way up to 6. So actually, Sequence 5 is perfect. Sequence 5. Whoa, so Cattleya is a Sequence 5. So we once again have a Tarot Club member who's higher ranked than our god. Or a higher. There are no traces of being influenced by Mr. Fool, which in turn explains many things. He was able to directly pull my soul body into that mysterious space. It's not something that a demigod scepter can compare to. Although he was dressed in a contemporary clothing, that doesn't mean anything. For an existence at his level, it's very easy for different people to see him in different forms. And his true appearance would probably cause every person that saw him to lose control and die. Cattleya stared at herself in the mirror, thinking silently about what had happened. It was inevitable that she had some predictions about Mr. Fool's identity. But this was only guesswork without any evidence. Mystery Prior has the worst sequence names. I can only remember the sequence 9 and 0. The fact that he is wearing a tailcoat doesn't mean that he is very young or that he was born recently. Perhaps his essence is ancient, even older than the 7 gods. The knowledge that is pursuing me tells me that before the cataclysm there were indeed older gods. And he might be one of them. Cattleya silently said to herself, before turning away from the full-length mirror and walking back to the place where she struggled in pain. She picked up her glasses that had fallen to the side. She put the thick glasses on her nose, hiding her deep purple eyes. Her eyes are purple? Everything that didn't appear under a normal person's vision quickly disappeared from her sight. Oh, these glasses are some kind of Beyonder artifact then. They cancel out her power. And like in a good way, like in the same... Like in the sense that like Gojo from JJK puts that blindfold on because his 6 eyes are constantly siphoning like shit tons of energy from him. In that sense, Ketlea stood there thinking about the influence of the fool in the so-called tarot club would have on her. Unknowingly, a tall figure surfaced in her mind. The words that she would never forget once again echoed in her ears. Leave. Your destiny doesn't lie with me. Is this my destiny, your majesty? She closed her eyes. Who the fuck is this guy? Who is this guy? Tall figure? Leave, your destiny doesn't lie with me? What? Your majesty? The plot thickens. Your majesty. Majesty makes me think emperor. Emperor makes me think Nast. Stupid? Perhaps. But I'm curious. In the ancient and majestic palace above the grey fog. Klein's fingers tapped the edge of the long bronze table, tapped the edge of the long model table as he made all the tarot cards disappear. My guess is the hidden sage. Yeah, but you wouldn't refer to a god as your majesty. You'd refer to him as him. Earthly titles like your majesty, empress, emperor, all that bullshit doesn't apply to gods. It would be an insult as far as a god is concerned. He was thinking about what the subsequent developments would be after the Admiral of Stars joined the Tarot Club. If there's no other way, and I might need to take a detour from a safe sea route and enter the sea that was once a battlefield of gods to search for singing mermaids, having the hermit, who is fearful of the fool, in my control is better than cooperating with Vice Admiral Iceberg Edwina. Using her ship would be much safer. The Hanged Man will be a backup choice. Why not? What if you were like Sequence 4 or something? Admiral of Stars is a mosaic... Admiral of Stars is a Moses ascetic order member. She grasps plenty of knowledge and is very helpful towards the Tarot Club. But it's a latent risk for me. Mr. Fool's image is built... Oh shit, yes. Thank you, Milosh. I forgot. She grasps plenty of knowledge and is very helpful towards the Tarot Club. But it isn't a latent risk for me. Mr. Fool's image is built on the foundation of being unfathomable. In the future, I need to be careful. I mustn't answer things I'm not sure of. On matters I'm unconfident about, I'd rather be vague and handle the matters like a charlatan. Of course, to fully resolve this problem, I should quickly improve myself and become a high sequence beyonder. My strength needs to match my level, and my standards need to match that pedestal. And what if the Hidden Sage is just like Klein, a fraud? Then I actually start to like him, which is not good because I don't want to like him. I hate him. He got O'Neill killed. But if he's just a lunatic who's just pretending to be strong, that's based as fuck. With a Sequence 5 powerhouse with many subordinates under her, the overall strength of the Tarot Club isn't considered low. After obtaining the Sea God Scepter, I wouldn't have to worry that the members of the Tarot Club will be too strong, with problems easily arising. I hope that there will come a day when this member of the Moses Ascetic Order, Admiral of Stars, will be able to play an important part against my revenge against the Hidden Sage. Klein exhaled and vanished from above the grey fog. What if all gods are like Klein? I have to believe someone made it. Everyone's a fraud? Yeah. The Lord of Frauds, yeah. Backland. Beneath St. Samuel Cathedral, a red-gloved Nighthawk entered the temporary office assigned to them. Captain, something happened at Enmat Harbor, he said to Soul Assurer Soest. What happened? There's a new development from the Fool. The member holding the telegraph handed the piece of paper over. Sorry, we have boss music. Hold on. Then the world is a joke. Yeah, exactly. Someone lied about claiming to be his blessed in an attempt to scam others, but after chanting his name, he was smote a word to death on the spot by a lightning bolt. There really is a hidden existence known as the Fool. Smote is a word. Never mind. Wow. Wait, how did Milosh... The files relating to the tarot ritual and the Fool had been handed over to Soest's Red Gloves team. They were in charge of the investigation, but there were no leads, and they didn't put much emphasis on it because there were other missions on hand. The Fool has power in the lightning domain? Leonard Mitchell removed the black hat from his face? Who knows? If he's the embodiment of some old friend of ours, it's possible to do something similar by preparing a corresponding mystical item. It's not without precedent. This is especially so for the fake gods in the southern continent and the colonial islands. Holy Lord of Storm, those cheats claim that the Fool is another manifestation of the Lord of Storm. This might be why he was smote to death. Soest leisurely threw the telegraph aside. Bro, this motherfucker's a believer in the Evernight Goddess, and he's saying Holy Lord of Storm? This motherfucker is gonna get smitten right here. Or smote right here. Smited? Smote. Leonard glanced over. Aren't we going to do some investigation? How? Are you going to feign ignorance and recite the honorific name? Soest sneered. Oh my god. That's how Leonard's going to eventually join. Leonard is just going to straight up try to be investigating, say the name, and Klein's going to pull him up. And Leonard, oh my god. Oh my god, I see it now. I see the vision. I see the vision. Let him cook. Let him cook. This has a high possibility of catching the tail of the Fool, but I'll basically be bidding farewell to this world. My digestion of the nightmare potion has been going pretty well, and I just got another good item. There are plenty of sequences up ahead which are waiting for me. How can I enter an eternal sleep so soon? Leonard stroked his drooping hair and said, We can get a few criminals on death row to try it. But he could just not respond, Soest shook his head. We can start from the two cases that involve the terror ritual. I'm more and more convinced that it has something to do with the Fool. First, the Fool is one of the major arcana tarot cards. Second, the organization that is seeking or cracking down on his blessed is the Aurora Order. In the first case that involved the ritual is the Lanavis case. As such, Aurora Order's attempt to allow the true creator's descent was foiled. Lanavis pulled at his black vest and got up. What? I think you mean so. I think this means to say Leonard pulled at his black vest and got up. Soest thought about it seriously and said, The clues from the other cases happen to have been cut off as well. For now, we have nothing to do. You can try to investigate the terror rituals. Sure, Leonard smiled back. That was exactly what he wanted. With the case that no one cared about being handed to him, he had won a certain amount of time to act freely. Oh, that was by design. Ah, so clever. My boy's so clever. Leonard will join the Tarot Club, kill the Fool with the help of his grandpa, and become the Fool in protagonist peak fiction. True. Musician, you say you want to be an author. Nightwalker just gave you an idea. Right, man. Make the fanfic you want to read about it. At 2:50 p.m., Forrest returned from the cold street to her residence while trembling. It wasn't that she wanted to go out in this damp, cold weather, but it was that she had run out of food at home. As for Gio, she had gone all the way to the Pritz Harbor to capture a fugitive and collect a bounty. It was unknown when she would get back. She's always instinctively chasing after and capturing fugitives. It can be said that she's been acting in some way. Oh, this is what Dr. Z was saying, in that Gio, because she was born arbiter, it's literally in her instinct to go capture fugitives now that she's a sheriff. Like, it's part of her DNA, basically. Holding the large brown paper bag in her arms, she habitually fished for her keys to open the mailbox and take out the letters and bills. She entered the house, put away the food, and took off her thick coat that tightly clung to her body. Forrest began to look through the letters. Suddenly, her eyes lit up. There was a letter from her teacher, Dorian Gray. After she advanced to Trickmaster, the first thing she did was write about it in a letter to her master, hoping she would receive her teacher's praises and subsequent guidance. But days had passed without a reply. But for a moment, she worried if she should visit Pritz Harbor out of concern. Forrest opened the envelope and began to read it. I'm sorry that I have only replied now. I previously left Pritz Harbor for some time for a relative's funeral. Your talent leaves me gratified. Perhaps the stories hidden in your heart have helped you in the acting. After you digest the Trickmaster potion, I'll give you the Sequence 7 astrologer formula and some ingredients, as well as a gift. The crux when it comes to acting as a Trickmaster lies in performing and hoodwinking. Hoodwinking can be replaced by deceit. This has been verified by generations of Beyonders. You can take into consideration other pathways like Swindler and Magician. The meaning behind their name is similar in some sense. Hold on. Magician, Swindler. Okay, let me cook. What's sequence 9 of could apprentice, seer, and not swindler. Swindler's 8. What's 9? Could the swindler, seer, and apprentice pathway be interchangeable at high levels? Considering you can take consideration from them? Let me cook. Fuck, what's the other one? Marauder. Divination? True. Divination time, yes. Okay. The Marauder, Apprentice, and Seer pathway are interchangeable at high sequences. The last divination was interfered with. No, wait, no, this can't be happening. Oh, I thought that was so smart. I thought that was so good. Come on. My divination has been letting me down recently. Oh, God. Oh, God, this is so depressing. My divination is not giving me the answers I want. God damn it. Forrest heaved a sigh of relief, glanced up at the wall clock, and hurried back to her bedroom before locking the door behind her. The weekly tarot gathering was beginning. Not long after, a crimson light flooded her eyes, drowning everything. In the ancient and mysterious palace, just as Forrest was about to look at the Fool, she suddenly saw a figure beside her. That seat has always been empty. A new member? A lady? Forrest moved her eyeball slightly, pretending not to care. Another new member? And it's a lady? Miss Justice was about to get up and greet the Fool when she saw the unfamiliar figure. While feeling puzzled and expectant, she discovered a problem. The women were on one side of the table and the men were on the other. This should be divided according to Mr. Fool's intention. I wonder if there's any symbolic meaning behind it. Ladies on the left, men on the right. Neither being left or right is what defines a god like Mr. Fool. Yes, there's also Mr. World. Could it be that he's neither man or woman, or even a human? Audrey, you're thinking too much. Justice stood up and bowed, speaking with a brisk tone. Good afternoon, Mr. Fool. You should trust more on your spiritual intuition. But my divinations have historically been so good. So, I mean, she is kind of right. This is true. $566. Yeah, I think we'll leave it at $566, and then if I feel up to it tomorrow at night, because Easy's streaming around 6ish, so maybe I can stream like an hour earlier, and then I can do an extra chapter at night. I can do 10 chapters at night and be where I'm supposed to be. Or, sorry, this is 7, not 6. Or no, this is 8, not 9. Haha, my god, I can't. So, and then we can do 10 at night, and that'll put us at 18, which is where we should be. Good. And then I'll also reach out to Easy, see if he's free to chat sometime on the weekend. Dope. All right. 566. The details of clothes. Wait. Wait. Just so I know, does anyone know by chance? A tarot club meeting probably doesn't end in one chapter. Does it end in the second one? Because if it ends in the next chapter, I might just push through and do 567 right now. If it ends in the next chapter, if it doesn't end in the next chapter either, then fuck it. At that point, I'm leaving it in the middle either way. So who even cares? You know what I mean? The tarot club gathering runs for. The tarot club gathering runs for. Well, Lesnia was saying it runs for 5 chapters. That's crazy. That's insane. Okay. You know what? I'm gonna start reading. Someone. If it's 3 chapters, then fuck it. Klein's lips curled up in a slight nod in response to Miss Justice's greeting. He was just about to introduce the hermit to everyone, and everyone to the hermit when he noticed that Miss Justice didn't stop. Her gaze shifted to the other side as she greeted, "Good afternoon, Mr. Hanged Man." This time she didn't follow the order of the tarot cards, but followed the order in which the person had joined the tarot club. After this round of greetings, the hermit will essentially get to know everyone, and there's no need for the fool to introduce her. Miss Justice is obviously doing it on purpose. She's so considerate. As long as the beyonder of the domain, spectator domain gets serious, they act differently for matters like this. Klein was surprised for a moment before he praised her silently. At the same time, Alder responded to Audrey's greeting while cautiously sizing up the new member. Female. It's barely possible to tell that she's wearing a black gown with many patterns on it. Her hair is black and her eyes are a little purple. Alder managed to find certain traits in her blurred, distorted image. It is 571? Okay, fuck it, then we'll stop here. That's crazy. 5 6 chapters for a tarot club? That's crazy. Suddenly, his heart sank as he recalled the scene he saw a few months ago at a pirate convention. Back then, scattered starlight had magically formed a long bridge between the huge sailboat and the palace in the depths of the island. Admirals of Star Cattleya, who was wearing a classical black robe, had walked in mid-air, carrying a celestial globe and a short scepter by her waist. And the celestial globe resembled the strange weather bottle that Alger had previously received. The latter coincidentally shattered after he had been pulled into the gathering by Mr. Fool. Could it be her? She looks similar based on her attire, but the Admiral of Stars wears glasses, and she doesn't. It can't be confirmed. It'll require further observation and evidence. Unfortunately, I only saw her from afar and know little. The glasses stuff totally proves that the glasses disguise for Superman would actually super work. Regardless, I should be careful. When exchanging information, I should try my best to avoid divulging details about my actual situation. The world is Mr. Fool's blessed, letting him know if my identity is totally different than the others. After the matter regarding the sea god, Mr. Fool has recovered a considerable amount of strength. He's even able to pull in a powerhouse like an admiral. The thoughts flashed through Alger's mind as he silently fidgeted in his seat. Tarot Club is 10th century. Yes, he very much did, FQ. Good, yeah. Henry Cavill stood in a Superman shirt underneath a Superman poster, and no one recognized him in Times Square for 2 hours. Mr. Hangedman's body language tells me he's alert and guarded. Does he know the newcomer, or has he guessed something? How intriguing. Audrey's gaze swept across without leaving a trace and landed on Derek. At this moment, Cattleya, who was also carefully examining the members of the Tarot Club in the order they were greeted. The mysterious purple color in her eyes slowly flowed in an indiscernible fashion. Although she couldn't truly see the blurry concealment of the fog, she could still make out the details of their clothings. The Hanged Man, a man in his prime, in his 30s, has messy hair like seaweed and a rare deep blue color. This is a common mutation in the sailor pathway. He's wearing a robe with the patterns of storm and waves. Someone of the Church of Storm? Cattleya's pupils contracted. She didn't show any abnormality, but she continued to observe the rest of the members. The son. A young man, perhaps still underage. His attire is rare, and has simple ancient sense of beauty. It's very tight, making it suitable for combat. Is he a Beyonder in this aspect? The world. Neither an old nor a young man. He has a gloomy temperament and wears a hooded robe. He has a feeling as though he's not a living person. Is he something similar to Senor or Steel Mavetti, or some other sequence I don't know of? I always imagine him late. Are you talking about Alger? The Magician, a young woman, wears a common lone-style dress. Apart from having a trait of languidness, she doesn't have any other characteristics. The kind of person that's easiest to ignore, so she needs to have more attention paid to her. That's so clever. Alger in his early 30s seems fair. The Moon, a young man. He sits very casually, black hair, red eyes, and wears a Earth Mother priest robe. There seems to be only one possibility. A vampire. Dude, she's so clever. What? As expected, the members of the tarot gathering aren't that simple. A preliminary judgment involves 2 churches. Cattleya withdrew her gaze and met Audrey's gaze. Sensing the other party's intention to ask, she nodded slightly and said, "The Hermit. Oh, she's very good." Cattleya had spoken in ancient Faceac, deliberately avoiding the more common languages of Intis and Lone. She had done so back when she was communicating with the Fool, but she noticed one thing. Mr. Fool had previously told her that the time that the gathering was held was 3 p.m. on Monday, Backland time. Does this mean that the members of this gathering are predominantly made up of people from Lone? Cattleya made her judgment. Justice. Audrey smiled faintly in return. Good afternoon, Ma'am Hermit. Ma'am Hermit sounds so silly. She's a Sequence 5, literally a mini powerhouse. There is no such thing, FQ. You're either a powerhouse or you're not. Every powerful person in Lord of the Mysteries is smart as fuck. What about Mr. A? She had noticed that the hermit had noticed what the hermit had been up to and summarized the person's traits in her heart. She is a cautious woman, rich in experience in the Beyonder world, quiet but not introverted. She's confident in her observation skills or certain abilities related to her eyes. Mr. A is misunderstood. Fuck you. Furthermore, her clothing style and short scepter hanging at her waist indicates that her sequence pathway leans towards mystery. This requires confirmation, perhaps just a hobby. At the same time, Cattleya managed to clearly make out Miss Justice's clothing. 2 hanging earrings, and the earrings are small and exquisite, inlaid with very high-quality emeralds, which accentuate her emerald green eyes. They're obviously worth a lot. The necklace around her neck looks unique, lined with diamonds that are difficult to count, but nothing ostentatious. Her milky white dress is simple yet thoughtful. It's tailored to be elegant and befitting of her status. A 17, 18-year-old girl, very rich. The way she moves and her etiquette makes her highly suspect to be a noble with high status. A lone noble? Cattleya didn't know why she sighed in her heart. After a round of greetings from Audrey, there was no need for Klein to introduce the original members of the Tarot Club to the Hermit. Or the hermit to the rest. Just as she sat down, Audrey once again turned to the very end of the long bronze table. Mr. Fool, I'm out of town and only managed to find 1 page of Roselle's diary. At the last gathering, she provided 2 pages, so she was 2 pages short of paying off her debt. Furthermore, with her being in the manor, even if she went to the city, all she could manage was 1 page. She's going through the checklist. Actually, Spectator versus Mystery Prior, yeah. Spectator versus Mystery Prior, but also Spectator of a much lower sequence and much less experience. So that's telling you, like, Cattleya is really smart because she's beating Audrey at her own sequence because she's making up for the differential in abilities via either artifacts or just experience, right? You know which of the two. Very good, FQ. Very good. In addition, due to the addition of a new member, Hermit, she was careful not to mention the psychology alchemist. She didn't mention Backland or Eastchester County at all. Roselle's diary? Diary? Cattleya almost lost control and couldn't help but turning her head to look at Miss Justice, who sat on the same side as her. She clearly remembered that the tall and beautiful girl had once sighed. It's not a notebook, it's his diary, but other than him, no one can understand it. The member of the Tarot Club know that Roselle's notebook is a diary, and Mr. Fool is collecting it? Is he trying to crack it to find the secrets? This is more like a revived ancient god. All sorts of confused, shocked thoughts surfaced through Cattleya's mind. She maintained her steadiness and turned her head in a normal fashion to observe the first transaction. After experiencing many things, she trudged her way through becoming one of the 7 great pirate admirals. She understood the most important thing for her to do after joining the Tarot Club was to listen more and speak less. Mr. Fool, I received 3 pages, Ford said with a smile. They had been mailed by Dorian Gray. At last week's gathering, she said she hadn't received her teacher's response, and due to the cold weather, she hadn't attended any Beyonder gatherings, so she couldn't provide a single page. Derek then followed. Mr. Fool, I've copied a new legend of the ancient gods. He's always using the legend of the ancient gods as perfunctory payment. Emlyn glanced at the sun. Suddenly he thought of something. Although the sun claimed that they had worshipped, the one they had worshipped was the Lord that created everything, he had never tried to cover up the influence that the giant king Ormir had on them. But he never mentioned the giant queen, Bella, who was the kingdom of the city, was who the kingdom of silver originally believed in. Holy fuck, I'm actually having a stroke. Could it be that the City of Silver is an equivalent to the Kingdom of Silver? Wait a minute, I'll try it out. Emlyn had never been able to get over the sun's earlier slander of the sanguine. Who's more mature, sun or the moon? Sun, for sure. 4 pages of Rosal's diary, a legend of the ancient gods. That's pretty good. I wonder if it contains information about the High Elf, Kohanim. Alas, after the hanged man learned that the world is a blessed, I can't make the world ask questions without any qualms. Klein thought quickly and said with a chuckle, very good. He helped Miss Justice, Miss Magician, and the little son conjure their respective contents, which flashed into his palm as he casually browsed through them. Mr. Fool doesn't seem to be deciphering it. He can read Rosal's diary? What's his background? What's his identity? A sense of indescribable terror and dread suddenly swelled up in Catleia's heart. She quickly retracted her gaze and looked at the long bronze table, as if she was memorizing the simple patterns on the table's surface. The reaction the hermit showed when realizing that Mr. Fool is able to read Rosal's diary exceeded my imagination. Is she concerned with this matter, or is it somehow related to her? Audrey pursed her lips thoughtfully. Although the other party hit it quickly and naturally, this was still obvious enough for a sequence 7 of the spectator pathway. Klein, who sensed the abnormality of the new member, the hermit, because he also wanted to show this member of the Moses ascetic order who had a great deal of knowledge, would react to it. The result left him surprised. Isn't that a little too intense? Klein didn't have the luxury of time to think about it as his gaze fell onto Rosal's diary. Fuck. Okay, okay, I have to read the Rosal diary. I can't leave it on that. I'm sorry. I can't. I don't have it in me. I have to read the Rosal's diary. Everything else can fucking wait. I don't care. Okay. Last chapter. Can I curse in your stream? Yeah, I don't give a fuck. I swear all the time. I love cursing. What? I almost spilled tea everywhere. Wait, are you guys still on the server? Okay, let's keep going. Yeah. 9th April. I have just returned from the Countess I have just returned from the Countess's masquerade party when I suddenly felt an emptiness in my heart. One woman after another. The monotonous and mechanical movements, the indistinguishable sense of perfume, and the warmth from the entanglement of their limbs. All these in exchange for a few seconds of pleasure, followed by endless boredom, disgust, emptiness, and numbness. What pleasure is there in such a life? Is the meaning of life just to do this every single day? I can't go on like this. I have to get out of this sorry state. Bro, what? Also, I need to remind myself that I shouldn't habitually write Arabic numerals. Emperor, there are actually times when you reflect on yourself and act like a hipster? This doesn't fit my image of you. Klein almost pricked up his eyebrows. He looked up at the second entry of the diary. 11th April, the Countess invited me to a private saloon. She told me that Ma'am Julia would also be there. Will this conservative blonde girl who hails from Lone, because of her marriage, participate as well? I look forward to it. I've been imagining her in bed for a long time. I hope her husband, Viscount Delian, doesn't mind. Why is he like this? Kami, how's it going, man? Emperor, have you forgotten what you wrote a few days ago in your diary? How nice, isn't it? Also, you have a typo. Mind. Klein couldn't help but lampoon. Going bad? 14th April. I've been attending too many events recently, and the flesh is weak, even though the spirit is willing. But that's nothing. Although I am still young, I should be careful about the risks of retrograding. Temperance. Temperance. The archaeologist sequence has improved my physique and effectively enhanced a certain degree of my powers. No, this is it, Ramiro. I'm not reading anymore. I have to go pick up my niece soon. I can't just read all of it. No. However, this isn't my area of expertise, but just something that came with it. As I continue raising my sequence, the change from the previous potions will also intensify. That is my motivation. Apparently, apothecaries can concoct medicines that lack side effects. Maybe I should ask for a few of them. Also, I have to control myself. Unrestrained behavior will lead to continuous increases in the threshold, and the degree of satisfaction wouldn't be like how it normally is. From the moment I understood the weakness of my... The niece has legs, she can walk. She's not walking home by herself. She's 4.5. After calming down and thinking about it carefully, there are many things that can be done. Humans are always like this, bound by desire, unable to see what's of value. Why did I transmigrate here? What secrets lie in the cosmos above my head? Where did the original consciousness come from? If self-cognition purely comes from one consciousness, then who was I before I had the identity of Huang Tao? Who does the essential part belong to? Gotta teach him young? Okay. Emperor, are you describing to me what it means to be a pervert and a philosopher before and after the deed? So you do have worries about such matters. I thought you were already fixed in certain traits. Thankfully, you didn't teach Chinese to your children. Yes, you likely didn't teach them. Otherwise, what would they think after seeing such stuff? Zaratul prophesies that your eldest daughter, Bernadette, would be at odds with you and betray you. It's not without reason. Of course, not teaching them is more of a form of protection. Klein was successfully amused by Roselle's diary entries, but he didn't show it on his face. Wait, Zaratul said Bernadette would betray him? I didn't remember this. Hold on. Who assassinated Roselle? What was, it's in my notes. The Church of the EBS, I think, EBS Sauron family? Okay. Could she be in the Church of Eternal Blazing Sun, maybe? To him, the Diary of Emperor Roselle was both a book of knowledge and a collection of jokes. With this thought, Klein turned to the next page. 2nd October, Zaratul came to visit me again. Yes! Now that I've become a demigod, he wishes that I can honor a promise. He wishes to steal that dangerous sealed artifact from the church. That is a grade 1 sealed artifact. The Indigenous Family Notebook from the 4th Epoch. Let's go! We're getting some fucking lore! Give me some stuff! Yes! Let's go! Okay, I'm opening my notes on the side. Okay, where are my notes? Book is from... Okay, at this point, Klein's pupils contracted uncontrollably. This was likely the notebook that the Secret Order lost later on. This was likely the notebook that led to Klein Moretti's death, and how he, Zhou Mingru, had used Klein's corpse to successfully awaken into this world. This was the source of everything. It turns out that it didn't fall into the hands of the Secret Order from the beginning. Instead, it was sealed within the Church of the God of Craftsmanship, which later turned into the Church of God of Steam and Machinery. Zaratul successfully obtained it through Emperor Roselle. Right, the Secret Order member inside Creeping Hunger was very fearful of Zaratul. He believed that Zaratul is an undying, abnormal monster. Does this mean that Zaratul gained the benefits through the notebook, but an accident happened? He turned from a person who could communicate normally with Roselle into a monster. Therefore, this eventually led to the loss of the indigenous family notebook? Of course, it cannot be ruled out that Zaratul deliberately allowed it to be lost. Okay, never mind. I'm just gonna have to straight up fucking copy this entire chapter again. God damn it. Yes, as Zaratul became a monster, the Secret Order lost all the mermaids, causing subsequent faceless beyonders to risk their lives out at sea. Rosego succeeded because he attempted to enter that sea, which is a ruin of the battle between gods. All these thoughts flashed through Klein's mind, causing his heart to feel heavy. He assumed that the indigenous notebook that he had encountered was closely related to Roselle, because the theory he always had stemmed from the laws of convergence of beyonder characteristics, and that some of the details that followed were in the line of similar logic. Are they all involved in the upper echelon of the seer pathway? Klein glanced over the palace and looked in the endless grey fog. Could it be the cause? He asked himself this question with once more from the bottom of his heart. Sorry, no, that's going in the notes. I have many abilities. Steadying his emotions, Klein went on to read the subsequent diary pages. I'll have to do it depending on the situation. If it's easy to steal and there's no risk of exposure, I'll try to do it. Otherwise, I'll pretend as if none of this ever happened. It doesn't matter, even if Zaratul was to expose me. With my present identity, status, sequence, and influence, as long as I repent, the church won't do anything to me. Oh, and then he fucking died. The other two diary pages recorded Roselle's train of thought towards constructing his plans to steal the notebook, but none of them seemed likely to succeed. However, Klein knew that Roselle eventually obtained the notebook and handed it over to Zaratul. After a moment of thought, Klein turned the page. 10th December. I once again attended that ancient and secret gathering. At the gathering, I discovered that they were unanimous in being extremely hostile to the Solomon Empire of the Fourth Epoch. I raised the question which Mr. Hermes quickly answered. In the Fourth Epoch, the ally and supporter of the Solomon Empire was the true creator. The plot thickens! The true creator was actually the helper of the Solomon Empire. The Solomon Empire. Solomon. The seer sequence pathway was first established by the Solomon Empire's Zaratul family. Oh. The seer sequence pathway was first established by the Solomon Empire's Zaratul family. Interesting. Could the true creator be the sequence 0, or perhaps even the super god of the seer pathway? No, but the Solomon Empire is massive. It could be the. It could be so many different pathways. It could be the fucking. It could be the lawyer pathway. It could be even after having my comments stupid, we still ignore them with some special ability. Bernadette, after reading Roselle's diary, betray him trust. Yes, I got that. We know true creator is the god of the secret suppliant. Oh, true. Yeah, is the god of the secret suppliant. So what? So why is this important? I resisted the urge to ask what exactly our organization has done in the history of the Fourth Epoch. But as I left the palace and returned to my dream, I found that Mr. Hermes' route this time coincided with mine to a certain degree. This ancient man who's lived since the cataclysm definitely knew more. If I build a rapport with him and earnestly ask him the question, is that why the organization hates the true creator? Is it solely because he had used the creator's holy name in his name? So the Twilight Hermit Order seems to believe in the creator. The creator probably referring to the original creator. Mr. Hermes chuckled and said that they weren't superficial creatures. He asked me in return if I knew what the actual abilities of a shepherd were. Of course, was my answer. He asked profoundly. He asked again in a profound, meaningful manner. Who do you think would be most likely to develop in the direction of being an omnipotent, omniscient among all the present gods? Okay, hold on. Among all the present gods, who do you think is most likely to develop in the direction of being omnipotent and omniscient? The first thought that came to me was the shepherd pathway, which could engage in devouring and grazing, so as to control the souls and characteristics of other beyonders. So that's the reason? This page only had this diary entry, but it contains a lot of information. The Solomon Empire originally came under the true creator's camp. Yes, in the Tudor family underground ruins, there are humanoid creatures of the 6 true gods. Although it isn't certain whether they were worshipping or desecrating the gods, one thing is certain. The 6 gods were involved in the affair of the 3 empires, and they later had a close relationship with the Truance dynasty. With the 3 great empires, did the 3 great empires represent 3 different camps of gods? Klein tried to use his archaeological discovery and historical knowledge to decipher the hidden truth of the previous epoch, but he was still shrouded in fog. An entire empire with the true creator's support. Yeah, and that's why they fucking died. Yark! Alright, sounds good, buddy. You made it almost all the way to the end. We've got not much left at this point. A little bit of the last chapter and an art, and then that's it. Yeah. Towards Hermes, the oldest master of mysticism, Klein's answer came close to Roselle. As a Beyonder's sequence was raised, the saints and angels of the shepherd pathway were able to engage in the grazing of more souls, gaining more and more beyond our powers. In the end, if the true creator had finished grazing the other 21 beyonder pathways, he would, to some extent, be the omnipotent, omniscient creator. There are still a lot of secrets hidden in the sequence pathways. Klein turned to the 4th page. This diary page recorded the actions Roselle took after he consumed the Savant Potion. He read a lot, studied a lot, tampered down on the foundations very firmly, and increased the scope and depth of his knowledge to a whole nother level. In this period of time, he had almost no entertainment. Learning was his greatest form of entertainment. In one of his diary entries, he wrote, "When a person knows with certainty how much he will gain after putting in effort, and is able to directly tell how much he gains, he will certainly work as hard as I am now." Isn't this the fundamental attraction of many games? Klein turned to the last diary page and read the legend of the ancient gods provided by the little son. During the entire time, the majestic palace was completely silent, be it Justice, the moon. They were both considering what to trade and communicate later. This was the first time that the hermit, Cattleya, had encountered such a situation, but she didn't feel uneasy or uncomfortable at all. Instead, she analyzed the information she had received. This isn't the first time this is happening. Mr. Fool has a habit of reading Roselle's diary at the Tarot Club. The members will proactively or passively search for the pages for him. However, it can't be confirmed if there were any advance payments. He really can read Roselle's diary. He's searching for secrets that have sunk in the rivers of history. Just now, the son mentioned that the information he handed in was about the legends of ancient gods. This is roughly in line with my previous speculation. At this point in time, Klein had roughly finished the new piece of information regarding the ancient gods. In the second epoch, in those dark years, every ancient god had a god attached to them, like Dragon of God Ankvald and his child Al-Zuhad. What? I'm sorry. Does that make any sense to anyone? In the second epoch, in those dark years, every ancient god had a god attached to them, just like the Dragon of Imagination Ankvald and his child, Dragon of Imagination Azul. But neither of these have a god attached to them. What? Did I miss something? I'm just going to quickly do some notes. His child was also like a sub. I see. Okay, every god had another god attached to them. Oh, I see. Okay. Oh my god, that is so much. I'm so glad I read that chapter. Holy shit. Okay, let's do the Discord and then I'm gonna go. Let's go. Yes, I've already seen that. Client's messenger? Jesus Christ. Okay, that is a lot of images of Klein's messenger. Would not have expected that. Fair enough. My god, this is so detailed. What? Look at this. Even like I don't know what this is called, this material, but like this is so detailed. That is so cool. That is so cool. Yeah, fan art. Like, look at this. This level of detail? That's crazy. Yes, Raynette something. It also gave the last name. One of, if not the best character designs in the story. Like, this is so cool. Tyneker. The red eyes. I don't know. It's something about red eyes just makes everyone. No, that's right, FQ. So just something about the red eyes make her look so sinister. What the fuck? Miss Messenger. That is terrifying. My God. Oh, is that Tinker like Tinkerbell? Wow. Okay. That is so. Like, these versions, because it kind of, like, covers the stump of the neck with the dress, it looks fine. Seeing just the stump of the neck is so scary. What the fuck? I don't want to see that. Oh, God. Actually, this art is actually quite nice. Again, the Taiwan art tends to be very hit or miss for me. So this is actually nice. Like, that is scary as fuck, but, like, this has got to be official art, right? There's no fucking shot. This is fan art. This is incredible. Oh my God. Official. Okay, thank God. What? Excuse me? Squeeze me? What? That's so cool. What the fuck? Cat Leia. Pretty sure the fan arts were made before the official one. That's how accurate they are. Wow. This is cool. This is very nice. The little glimmering stars everywhere. This is very cool. Man, purple eyes are... That's something. I have the video. Want me to... Yeah, please do, Nightwalker. I'll check it out. This is so cool. This is very cute. I don't... like, dressed like this, she makes me, dressed like this, she reminds me of, oh, for fuck's sakes. Oh, like, I don't, okay, no, never mind. She doesn't even look like them. Never mind. I don't know. I was never particularly attached to Cat Leia. Maybe your read-through will change that? Like, oh my God, this is so good. That is amazing. That is so well done. Oh, look at that. That's so cool. What is that thing? That looks dope as fuck. She looks so pretty. My God. Look at her. This is so well done. I mean, this is official art, obviously, but still, like, that is so detailed. What is this thing? I know they described it in the book, but my God. Official art looks very nice, too. Astrolabe? Ah. This is so cool. The astrolabe is there too. This is so well done. That's... Oh, yes! Oh, we have a new tarot club member. Ah. That is so well done. Oh my god, the eyes, everything. Thank you, Milos, for sending this. I will add this to her. I will add this to her thing. Remember that? Yes, I will add it to the GIF. I will add this. Thank you for sending this, Milos. Send some more messenger art. Wait, is this how they have to carry the message? Because her hands are occupied. And then the gold coin. That's so cute. That's so cute. I love that. Milos, come on, you're killing me, man. Very nice, though. Very nice. See, in some art, he doesn't look as batshit fucking insane as I think he's supposed to. Like, in these two, he just looks like a normal guy. He doesn't look like he's out of his fucking mind. No, see here. Even you take away the red eyes and you take away the blood, he still looks out of his fucking mind, stark raving mad. Which is what Gehrman is supposed to look like. This is in the middle. This is fine. This is not great, but it's fine. Danitz. He is now level 11 out of 10 on his Stockholm Syndrome, okay? He's like, oh my god, he's letting me go to sleep. It's such a kind, generous man. Oh, this is so good. That clothing is so over the top. What the fuck? But all the same, that is very cool. That is over the top. This is some K-drama bullshit that he's wearing right here. What the fuck? But but it does look very nice. Okay. Official? That makes sense. That is cool. What is that in the back? What is this stuff? What is that? I don't know. Official art. Oh, this looks very good. This looks very good. That is so cute. But yes, it looks like the blood flies from Dishonored 2, kind of. On a Thursday afternoon. True. It's a Friday, Kami, but good try. This looks very cute, though. Oh, this is so cool. Everyone has their own. You don't have the reference on a Thursday afternoon? Is that a reference? Oh, the meme. Yes, I get it. It's Saturday. This looks very good. That looks so good. Oh, thank you. Looks like there's actual writing on the book. Thank you. Why is that so important to me? Couldn't fucking tell you. Don't judge me. This is so good too. Seriously, okay, call me crazy. But she reminds me of just a little bit, not much. I don't know why. But she reminds me of Satella for some reason from ReZero. I don't know. They don't look alike at all. Is anyone else getting anything here? Because, like, I don't know. She keeps reminding me of Satella, and I don't know why. No? The vibes are similar? Maybe it's that. Knowledge? Maybe. What the fuck do you mean that's not Satella? Oh, yes. Sorry, you're right. That's not Satella. Hold on. Oh, yes, you're right. That's not Satella. I fucking lied. I'm sorry. Why is there no... Okay, sorry. And the purple eyes. Sorry. Yes, you're right. Sorry, Justin. That's not... No, let me pull up whatever this is. Oh, wow. That looks so good. What? How the fuck is that even... How? How do you even do that? That is so good. Oh my god. That was awesome. Okay. Alright, everyone. I think we're gonna leave it there. No, sorry. We are gonna leave it there. That's night chapters. One more than I wanted to do, but we made good timing. I'm actually still 15 minutes early, which is kind of crazy. I read fast as a motherfucker today. Alright. That's it. We're gonna leave it there. I'll see you guys hopefully at night for the night stream, or in the morning for you guys. That's it. Thanks everyone for being here. Have a great rest of your day or nights. I'll see you soon. Oh, if you're not already in, consider joining the Discord. Link in the description. That's it. Alright. See ya. Not your username, obviously.